Hello. Welcome back to the Graybeard Podcast. Tonight I have a special guest with me, and he actually had me on his podcast recently, the Who Are You podcast. We've spoken about them on the podcast a couple times, gave them a few shout outs, and chances are if I've talked about you on my podcast, I'm eventually going to get you on the podcast. So with me this evening, the creators of the Who Are You podcast, or the Who Are You pod, Shannon and Connor Overbay. Say hello.
Hello.
Thank you guys for having us on here.
Hey, man. Thanks for coming, brother and sister.
Thank you.
I'm happy to have y'all, man. I had a killer time on your podcast. I hope I didn't I feel like when you're editing it, you're like, oh, I can't use any of this.
No, trust me. I was super, like I said, I love sitting down with other podcasters and everything as well. It's cool to pick your brain and also just get to learn your life and everything as well. And funny enough that you say that, your episode is actually coming out next Monday. So that'll be out here soon.
Make sure to put it on the calendar.
Hell yeah. I'm stoked. I'm kind of nervous. I don't remember. It was like a dream. You know what I mean? Like, you ever well, this is your first podcast experience, right?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to ask you, have you ever sat in an interview or something and you get done and you're like, what did I say? And you're leaving when you're driving home. You're like, I think I answered those questions dumb, and that's kind of how I was feeling.
To be honest, I feel like you did an amazing job, and it was cool to sit down and actually get to learn a little bit of your backstory.
Yeah.
You did speak about things that you said you've never really talked about maybe on here before. So it's cool to sit down and have that conversation with somebody and kind of get down to the real nitty gritty. Obviously, we talked about mental health, talked about past struggles and everything, and now where you are today. And looks like, in my opinion, you're doing pretty damn well.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
No, you and I mentioned this on one of the last podcasts. Is that I said that you dug and you got in there. I usually throw softballs at people, and then I get geeky and techie, and we just talk about the things that I know, which is cameras and podcasting and stuff like that. Just being an artist and creative,
of course.
But I'll throw you a little softball, a few softballs. You guys are originally from Jacksonville, or no?
So I
know we probably already talked about this.
No, you're good.
But from my people,
you're fine. So I was born and raised here in Jacksonville, Florida. I was born 1999, February 11th. Been here my whole life, went through everything from elementary to college here pretty much. And Shannon is a part from Florida, but I'll let you go ahead and tell your story.
Yes. So I was born in Florida, but whenever I was 3, my family experienced a tragedy. So my mom, my sister, and I, we all moved up to Ohio, where all of her family resides. So we were up there, so she had some extra help, and I was there until my senior year of high school. We moved this summer going into my senior year back down to Florida, finished my senior year at Tampa, and I came to Jacksonville for college, and I've been here ever since.
You came to Jacksonville for college?
Yes. University of North Florida, swoop, Ospreys.
Okay.
She went to a respectable college here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. So you guys, you've been all kind of all over a little bit, right? Well, she has. So
you're
a local boy. You're like me.
Yeah, I am local.
Born and bred.
We have traveled though. That's our big thing that we like to do together. You know, we're not very big on the material stuff. We're more about if we get some money or if we want to do something, we were more happy to go on trips. You know, we got engaged. I was in Colorado.
Nice.
We've gone on multiple cruises together, and that's more what I look forward to doing. It's just making the memories with my family or her and everything in general.
Yeah.
Better than the materialistic.
How did you guys meet?
I love this
to tell
question.
The story.
Good. I hit a good vein.
You did.
Go nuts.
So, as I said, born and raised here in Jacksonville. We ended up. So my first job was Five Guys Burgers and Fries. So I forget on how old I was. I was either 15 or 16. I was probably 16 when I started driving and going there and all that stuff. I worked at the Five Guys store. Had an issue with the manager there. Had a little bit of a altercation, I guess you would call it.
Scuffle.
A little bit of a scuffle. He grabbed me, threw me against the wall, and
It got physical.
it did get physical, and other things happened and all this stuff. So we ended up deciding to move stores with me. So I had, funny enough that you say that though, she was actually dating one of the managers at my current store, and she came in and she wouldn't give me yeah, exactly. She wouldn't give me the time of day. Like, I'm very sociable. I'll go up and say hi to anybody.
Yeah.
And obviously working there, she came up and was like, hey, can I talk to so-and-so? I was like, that's no problem. I was like, can I get you anything while you wait? And, go ahead.
Meanwhile, at this point, before I got in a relationship with him, I am very introverted. And he likes to say I'm not. But before I was dating him, I was very introverted. So if someone I don't know comes and talks to me, I'm like, hi.
Kind of
Leave me
clamshell a little bit.
So I remember the one thing she asked for, she's like, can you give me some like green peppers? Like cut up green peppers. I'm like, that was a very weird request, but sure, I can do that.
That was her way of flirting with you.
No, I don't believe so. So
she was fucking with you for real.
Oh yeah, 100%. Those green peppers, that's code, you know. But so that interaction happened, didn't think anything of it, kind of thing, and I ended up moving over and taking over her store, which was the town center store.
I worked at Five Guys as well.
Yes, she
Okay.
did. So that's where it comes into play. I did not happen to know that she worked at Five Guys. Apparently, some stories have been told, and they knew a little bit about me before I came over there and everything.
You had a rep.
Yeah, no, not a bad rep though. They heard I was an interesting, fun manager and everything.
Okay.
So the part of the story I missed was whenever I became 18 years old, I became a manager for Five Guys.
Right.
So and then making my way up closer to general manager-ish area, but basically running the store. So I ended up taking over their store whenever that whole thing happened. We became really good friends and just hung out all the time. And then, things.
One thing.
One thing leads to another.
Exactly.
Office romance.
Yeah. And I was her boss, but we ended up making everything work. And funny enough, we worked at 3 jobs together now. 3 or 4?
3 jobs together, 4 where we were at different stores.
Yeah. And then 1 month into us dating, I asked her to move in with me, and now we're married. So
Nice.
7 years, 7 years later.
Wow.
7
Holy
years.
shit.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Very
So-
good, very good. That is a funny story, and just coincidentally, personal preference. Five Guys fries, they're not that great.
What?
I'm gonna throw you a hardball real quick.
Hardball.
What a hardball question.
I'm ready.
What is up with the damn prices at Five Guys?
Yeah,
So
right.
They're astronomical.
you're not wrong. I 100% agree with you.
Is
Five
the
Guys.
supply chain fucked up? What's going on here?
No, so to be honest with you, though, the main thing I will give Five Guys that most people probably don't know, and every restaurant says it's fresh and all this stuff. Literally, people are cutting tomatoes in the back that just came in that morning, lettuce,
Okay.
just all that stuff. The potatoes, every single fry that you had there was cut by a person.
Yeah.
So
That morning.
like it takes. There's a lot of it. I'm not saying that you should pay $16 just for a burger. I'm
Bro.
not saying that in any way,
No.
shape, or form.
Because that's really when you're like, wait, I just bought a burger and fries and it's fucking $23.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
don't do like meals and all that stuff. So no, I don't agree with that, obviously. But I feel like 99% of the times when you go to Five Guys, you leave full.
Fair enough.
Not the last time I went. I've only been like twice, and it's because
It's because of the
Have
fries.
you
and the
tried the
prices.
Cajun fries?
I don't do Cajun
Oh,
stuff.
okay. That's
We had this
that's
conversation
understandable.
prior.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't do a lot of spicy things, but
Mm.
I I don't know, man. I just something about them is not. I like every other fry out there. I mean, even McDonald's, I feel like has.
Oh,
something
they're
on
better
it.
fries than
You know.
than Five Guys. No, I'll give you that.
And I know that they're fresh fries, but it's just like, what is? I don't know. It just seems like there's just something missing.
So there's
It's
a
not as crispy.
Yeah.
well, see, that's the
maybe.
thing that's crazy
Maybe.
about that. There's a whole process when it comes to making Five Guys fries.
Right.
So like you actually triple fry them. Yeah, you triple fry them. Like you put them in there. Let
That
them.
might be what it is. Too much grease in them.
That could be true.
Maybe.
And they use
Yeah.
peanut oil and everything as
Oh.
well. Some of the Five Guys secrets.
Whoa.
Funny enough, though, like we're talking about fast food and everything. We had an issue with a fast food company, and his name is Zaxby's.
Oh.
And I put out a post on the podcast that was talking about it in a clip, and they actually responded to me on Instagram.
Whoa.
I was like, you're listening, aren't you, nowadays?
Yeah. I would be very surprised if Five Guys listens to this.
They don't.
Right.
There's
They don't
Granted,
care.
he did
Running
at
that AI algorithm.
Zaxby's, so
Okay.
no, I mentioned them by name.
Oh.
100% I called them out on that.
Ah.
I went in there and an employee had earbuds in while she was taking my order. I don't care. As long as, whatever.
She got your order all wrong.
No. So I was like, hey, can I get this? And she said, what? And I was like, okay, I'll repeat myself.
What was her name?
My name. And she made me repeat myself 4 times. I was like, take your earbud out of your ear.
Or listen to me.
Or I'm going to freak out here in a second.
And we were missing food afterwards.
Missing food. They asked if
the manager took care of it all. But
when we came in, they were like,
still an unpleasant experience.
They're like, you're not going to be staying here, right? You're not eating in here.
It was immediately, this is to go, right?
What?
I was like,
why that?
This was like months ago. This wasn't like during COVID time where everything was shut down.
There was no one else in the store, so it's like that slow period. I guess they just
what are they like?
Didn't want to do anything.
Yeah, that's weird, man. I don't deal with bad customer service like at all. Like we just took my daughter, his wife, to like La Napolera for her birthday, and there was like maybe 3 servers in the entire place, and it was packed. Wow. And we had a whole huge table, group of people, and this girl was the bartender, she was the hostess and the server. She was wearing all 3 hats.
Oof.
So when it came time for the tip, I took care of her.
Yeah.
I've worked as a server and a hostess, and I never ever brought bartender, but those times when people come in with a huge group and they leave you like $1 tip.
Ooh.
It's like,
see, that's why I tipped so well, because I didn't know how the other people that were in the group were gonna tip.
Yeah.
And I was like, this girl's awesome. When it's great service, I'm gonna take care of you. But when you're a shit, you're gonna get, the sole out of my shoe. It might be all I give you.
It's a very fair tipping process.
Right. Yeah. It's all or nothing with me, baby. You know what I'm saying?
And it doesn't really take much just to go in there with a smile on your face and just,
Right.
Be nice. It's really.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I have the opinion where I feel like a lot of people should work in the food industry.
Right.
It teaches you a lot about how human beings are, and also how to work with people who may be angry with you at that moment, and then be able to come to a resolution peacefully, and not just freak out and scream like what you see on social media nowadays.
Yeah, how to de-escalate the situation.
Yes.
Right. There's not a lot of that. So, restaurants aside, Five Guys fries aside, whatever. That's a whole debate. We can get back into that later, okay? But talk to me, and let's get geeky a little bit. Let's talk about podcasty stuff. Because my viewers are more on the photography, videography, audio, types of things like that, and a lot of people have asked me. I've actually started off, helped some of the people that watch. They've questioned me and they've asked me like, how do I get started? But like, how did you guys come to decide like I want to do a podcast? And then what was that process like from beginning till now?
It was definitely a process. That's
Most
one
definitely.
thing. So I'll give like the beginning story of it. So I had the idea of. So let me start from the beginning. So I would
the beginning.
Yeah. So I would get home every single day, and I would just sit there on my phone for 2 or 3 hours doing nothing.
I work longer hours.
Right.
Yeah. So she doesn't get home till later in the day. So like I get home and have a couple hours to myself. I'm very social, so I like being around people or doing things or working with my hands, doing something to keep my ADHD or whatever it is, like attention somewhere. And after a while, man, like I've dealt with depression for a long time, and I'll just get home and I'll just be sad, man. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm not really contributing to like society. I'm not sitting here saying that my podcast is groundbreaking or anything.
Yeah.
But I would just get home and just like, I feel like I could do more with my life than what I was doing.
Right.
And I've always been very interested in people, man. I love people's story. I love like hearing how people made it out of certain things. We've all made mistakes in our lives, some bigger than others, but we've all ended up into this point where we are now.
Right.
So I just came up with the idea, and it was originally going to be named the Florida Man Podcast.
Okay.
But with, there's a million of those now, because what I was thinking was like, oh, people Google this, and this will be the first thing that comes up, and blah, 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 blah. Didn't work. But I was just like, I think it'd be cool to help promote people here in Jacksonville, whether, you're a business, an artist, or something in general. And I feel like getting into the deeper person makes people either want to work with you or do business with you or anything like that. So I just had the idea to start it. Basically, what I started with was 2 microphones that were probably like $30-$40 each. I did get a Rodecaster. For people who don't know that, it is a what would you describe it as? It's like
a full control panel.
Control panel-ish.
Yeah.
You can plug all it.
It's
audio, video, control
Everything.
panel.
Yeah, it's everything you need. It records. It does everything. There's a freaking word that is escaping me what it actually is, but
A mixer?
It's universal.
It's a mixing board.
Yeah.
It's everything. Everything you need. So it's got I don't know, everything.
Literally.
Like a Swiss Army knife.
Basically,
Yeah, 100%
podcasters,
is, yep.
Podcasters, yeah.
I recommend it to everybody.
Same here. I do too, because it's, to be honest, like with me, I had no experience with audio editing, doing, mixing, doing all that kind of stuff. So I researched for months, and, I was like, I didn't want to put a crazy amount of money into it because I wanted to make sure it was something that I was going to do and not spend, $5,000 on equipment and then use it for 2 months. And that's just a waste of money. So I started off with bare bones, got a couple microphones. I asked Shannon about some questions. She helped me kind of develop like what the name should be and kind of stuff like that. And we just kind of started. And what our wrinkle was is we would come to you kind of thing.
Okay.
So like, I know you've been to my podcast studio, or not studio, but my apartment.
Yeah, it's a studio. Nobody has to know it's not a studio.
But it's a work in progress. But our favorite things that we love to do is to go to these businesses and go in there. And basically we do an hour to a 2-hour interview, sit down and just have a conversation. But it's not all about business. The main thing I want to get into people is to hear your story. Like, how did you end up to, if you're a Fortune 500 company CEO, what makes you that person that be there? Or just say, just like us, we're podcasters, just sitting down and talking to each other. Because I feel like a lot of people just see these 30-second clips of people and they automatically get an opinion of them. I feel like it's harder for someone to put up a screen for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Sooner or later, you're going to get a little piece of that person and really see who they kind of really are, what their opinions are. And it's turned into something crazy, to be honest with you. And, I have Shannon now who does a lot of the recordings for me. And we've gotten to sit down with great businesses, charities. That's one of my favorite things to go sit down with, to go talk to people who are helping provide, aid for children or people like veterans and everything. And to be honest, I get a lot out of it. I'm getting to learn a lot of cool things about people and also help me with what things I may be going through in the background, help me kind of figure out my way through it. And me and her have gotten to do amazing things together, and I've really enjoyed every single part of it.
No, I've listened to a lot of your podcasts, and I had, like, before I came on, I had to listen to a couple. I was like, I got to know what this guy's about, and I was glad to hear that it wasn't just you asking questions. It was like something. My dogs are barking, by the way. It happens almost every podcast, so they're just part of the cast now. Sorry,
like
guys.
Oh, I love it. I always say our cat's feeder goes off every time we do a podcast for some reason. Every single time.
But, gosh, I just lost my train of thought. But I loved how you, like, something would resonate with what they're saying inside of you, and then you would, like, it's always good to have that, like, back and forth. I feel I don't like doing so much interview shows. Like my show is not really, I mean, we do interview people. I mean, people come on the show, so technically it's an interview, but I just would rather just have a relaxed conversation.
Yeah.
We just happen to be streaming live and, in front of microphones and stuff, and it's no sweat. Some people do freak out though at first.
I'm not gonna lie, I got nervous when I first walked in here. It's interesting to be, no, to be honest though, it's great.
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of the main things that people kind of get freaked out about is like talking about themselves. And at the end of the day is like, I didn't want to be that person that didn't really talk about true things that go on in my life.
Right.
Because I feel like that's very base level.
Yeah.
A lot that we talk about in the podcast is mental health, depression and stuff, because that's something I dealt with for a very long time. Right. And I feel like especially men don't really talk about it. It's like back in the day it was frowned upon and everything. And to be honest, if I didn't start talking about things, I wouldn't be here to this day.
100.
So that's the main thing. I feel like it's very big for all of us to get our thoughts out, and they might not be the best thoughts, but at least you're putting them out there in the world.
Right.
And with social media specifically, everyone posts their highlights. No one's going to post the terrible stuff. I mean, some people obviously do whenever it's like a loss or something.
Like what Jennifer Janeo says, I'm only going to post what I want you to see.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And we can get into that later on if you'd like. We got some time.
Well, you guys, as long as you need us. So
there's really no time limit. I mean, we usually try to keep it around 2, but
it's perfectly fine with
if
us.
we go over, whatever. If the conversation is good, we just keep rolling.
Yes, sir.
How did you feel about the whole podcasting thing? Like when he brought it, was it his? Did he bring it up to you or?
Oh yeah, it's like he said. We discussed, he gets home a few hours before I even get off work, so. His main thing is he's very extroverted. He could talk to a tree. So
no way.
He did bring it up because we had been talking for a while, like what hobbies could he get into just to keep his mind moving, focused on something. Yeah. He brought it up to me and I was like, that's awesome. Tell me what I need to help with. That's so basically what it was.
You're immediately on board.
She was my first interview.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's right. I did see that.
She was my very first and my most listened to interview ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like to support him in whatever he puts his mind to, and I knew this would be something that helped him, like, with his mind and keeping things focused and everything, and he loves it. I love it whenever I get off work in time and stuff, and can be there for the full interviews and everything. Even when I come through, like with yours, I came halfway through, but I love just being part of it.
Okay.
It's like you said, I do a lot of behind stuff.
Right.
But it's awesome hearing people's stories. I just am thinking in my head all the time, like what they're saying, you're saying. And then he's responding, and I'm thinking in my head, oh, I would say this.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you guys will have to start teaming up on doing tag teaming on guests like that. So
I trust her. If I was ever sick one day during an interview, I would trust her.
Go.
Yeah,
I'd do my best.
I wouldn't think twice. I'd let her go do her thing, and I trust her. She knows what my style is and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like you were talking about earlier, how your followers are more techie. They like microphones, photography, stuff like that. I am not very knowledgeable with that kind of stuff, but I could do it.
Yeah.
And like you had been talking about, it's easy to talk about what you know.
Right.
So whenever I get in on a conversation and it's like, oh, I know about that, it can roll.
Yeah, just start picking that Band-Aid.
Yeah, it's just difficult if someone says something, I'm like, I don't know how to respond to that or how to like keep that going.
Right. Yeah, if I asked you questions about a Nikon or a Sony or a Canon, you'd probably like, yeah, let's talk about something else, man. I don't want to talk about that.
We're always willing to learn, at least.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and for me, I'm always here to help, for anybody. I mean, and I put that out to everybody. If you guys need help setting things up or getting, like, we're going to geek out on cameras and stuff later.
Yes, sir.
Whatever it is, I'm here. I'm not the end all be all of I'm not the guru of cameras, okay? I'm not. I just know a little bit. I know enough to get me in trouble.
Hey,
you know what you have and everything, so that's what you can talk on.
I know how to use them. That's the hard part, is learning how to. Anybody could just go spend thousands of dollars on a nice camera, but you don't know how to use it. It's going to look like shit.
Oh, dude, I've been looking up not interviews, but looking up like setups on cameras and everything, because that's kind of the next thing that we're moving towards is the video side of things and moving over towards YouTube. And it's crazy all the different, whether it's settings, lenses, all the different kinds of stuff that you but like you kind of have to know a little bit about to get that perfect shot that you're looking for, that you see like what we're doing right here, or with what you do for your photography, that clean, crisp picture. That it's not just press a button and then that's what it is.
No, there's a lot more to it.
Of course.
Has it been weird, like seeing yourself on camera and hearing yourself? I know you edit the podcast. You edit all the audio, right?
So, like with what I tell all my interview guests and everything is I edit the way it sounds to make it sound more crisp, but I do not take things out. I like it more raw, just to kind of let the thing, like I let everybody know, I'm like, whatever you say on the podcast is going to be said.
Oh, absolutely.
Just to let you know.
Yeah, totally. But do you guys listen to yourselves on the podcast?
I do, and I feel like I sound like Kermit the Frog.
I just hate my voice on recording.
Really?
It's like while I'm here talking, it doesn't sound bad, but then you play it back.
And cringe.
Like, oh.
Yeah, hearing yourself on a recording is the weirdest thing. I mean, that was one of the first things I had to get over, and I've just always, well, not always, but for the last like 5 years, just looking, like I've been recording myself in some capacity, not, whether it's not for anybody but me, I'm recording something. I was trying to learn and do all I could, but it is weird. It is weird for sure. How are you guys getting all your guests?
Can I interject real quick?
For me, but yeah, go ahead.
Hold on to that question. Sergio Perea.
Oh, that's my buddy. Yeah.
Says that's my boy with a heart.
Sergio.
And then Trace Chapman, my boy Connor.
Shout out Trace. Shout out Sergio. Those are both my buddies. We all play Call of Duty damn near every night together.
Oh, bro, I'll hop in with you.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Come on in.
Yeah, he's the gamer in the family.
I love, like I said, like just keep him busy, man. That's one of my things. Like that's kind of like my wind down at night, even though it might get my blood pressure through the roof in certain moments. But no, I love gaming, and I've been around it my whole life as well.
Do your neighbors like bang on the wall? Shut the fuck up!
See, I'm not a screamer. I don't scream like that or anything. They're probably.
Good to know you're not a screamer.
Oh yes, I'm very quiet. No, to be be honest with me, I'm more. They might hear the occasional cuss word or a couple some other words kind of thing going off.
He's one shot.
Didn't hit him once either.
He came up behind me. He got me from behind.
I never.
So often, I'm just watching from behind. I'm like, there's a guy over there.
Like, shut up. I'm trying to think. And it's always easier. I know, like, I've been around people that play games. It's always easier to see shit happening because they're in it.
Yeah.
And you're like, fella,
He's right there. He's coming up.
You're about to get capped, bro.
But to go back to your original question and everything, to be honest, Shannon's gotten me guests. It's really just reaching out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You'd be very surprised with how many people want to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
But with us, we are also involved in it's a philanthropic group as well as a networking group here in Jacksonville. And to be honest, they've been very supportive of us. It's called the Southside Businessmen's Club. We go in there once, or now it's a twice a month kind of thing on Wednesdays, and you go in, shake hands, say hello to everybody, and they'll have like a leader of somewhere in Jacksonville. So like I got the CEO of JEA, our electric company here in Jacksonville. The one before him just got in trouble, was laundering some money or something like that. Maybe.
Wow.
I was not saying that's 100% fact. But I basically just walked up to him and I was like, hello, sir. I was like, hey, I have a podcast. I would love to talk about your business, blah, 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 blah. And, I talked to his secretary, went back and forth. And then one day they just emailed me. They're like, hey, we have an hour. Can you be here? I was like, I'll be there. And then, like, I just
That's cool.
packed all my stuff up. But to be honest, like I said, my favorite work that we've done so far really has been working with charities.
Yeah.
We've worked with the Dreams Come True Foundation, and Shannon was actually the one who got me that one. And basically what they do is it's like Make-A-Wish.
Okay.
And it's for terminally ill children, and they make their like last wish with them, and they make it come true, whether it's meeting an NFL player or going to Disney World. And that's the kind of stuff I'm more into.
Yeah,
it's just getting in there.
I've got an idea for
That's
you.
a tough job.
I've got an idea.
What's up?
I'm part of this. Well, not part of this organization, but I've done some hunts with them. But there's an organization here in Florida called Operation Outdoor Freedom, and they tag up with Florida Fish and Wildlife and the Forestry Service, and they take veterans who are 30% or more disabled on guided hunts. And they hunt anywhere from gator, turkey, hog, deer.
That's cool.
Go fishing. They do hiking events. They do camping events. They do clay shoots, all sorts of stuff. But I have met some really cool people out there, and even some Vietnam veterans out there. A couple guys with Agent Orange and stuff like that have some crazy stories. But if you want to work with another group, I can put you in contact with that after this. And
I'm always more than happy to work with people, man.
I know one of the founders of the board. I have him on Snapchat.
Hey.
So we Snapchat almost every day. But I'll put you in contact with him if you want. And see what
Just
we
hit him
do.
in the
Go from
snap.
there.
I know I'd greatly appreciate it. Like I take recommendations a lot too. That's the main thing is like there's a lot of interesting people out there, and for us, we're not trying to look just for the big whales or anything like that. You could have one person.
Well, you had me on, so that's for sure.
I mean,
you're
you
not
do
looking
great
for a
work, in
big
my
whale.
opinion. But we've also, and he brought up the military fact, we worked with another one called Operation New Uniform.
Okay.
And basically what they do is they take people who are getting out of the military and they take them through training courses to kind of, I'm messing up the word, but kind of move back into regular society and work normal jobs and everything.
Like, become a citizen again.
Reintroduce them.
Yeah, because obviously
life skills.
Like obviously someone like myself, I never served or anything, so obviously I'm sure going from whether it's combat or just being in the military lifestyle, I'm sure it takes time to not de-escalate, but
reintegrate.
Reintegrate. Thank you. That's
society.
a great word. Yeah. So that's a big thing, and to be honest, it's just awesome to hear stories from people who are working with the community and giving back, and that's my favorite thing that we do.
How long have you been doing your podcast?
We're about to hit 2 years
So
soon.
2 years.
Yep.
And you're
Very
pretty
soon.
successful, so that's good, man. It's taken off pretty big, yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. He's so humble.
Well, like I'm not gonna sit here and say we have 1 million listeners in any way, shape, or form, and it grows with certain ones and other ones it doesn't. And at the end of the day, it's just I get more out of it than what I'm looking at success. I'm looking at it as more of networking. Excuse me. Meet more people. I like being the youngest guy in the room and being in there because I feel like if you're the youngest, you're probably one of the you're in one of the right rooms. You're learning and getting around with people who are older than you, made the same mistakes you have, and can help you get past those ones.
Well, success is subjective in my opinion. It's whatever you deem success, whatever your goals are. If you hit the goals, and you're successful.
Oh, yeah.
Like his final question on the podcast.
Right.
Yeah, so the way I would describe my success is my family and my relationships. I'm very lucky to have a wife who supports me and has dealt with my crazy self for 7 years now and everything.
She's got to be cool, man.
Yeah, she's super cool. And then obviously my family as well. Like growing up, didn't have the best relationship growing up, and fought cats and dogs. I moved out when I turned 18 and blah blah blah. But we've gotten to the point
I
now.
love how you blah 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 shit.
Well, there's other stuff in there, just other crazy stories, and we've made it through a lot of things and gotten to a really cool point now. Parents divorced, and now they can consider quote unquote friends and be in the same room together.
That's good.
And we are all happy with each other. Like that's one thing it was hard for me to say growing up, was like being happy or know what the happiness side of things is. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, man, like I look at it now, I couldn't be more
you made your
successful.
Own happiness.
Yeah, I couldn't be more successful in those areas.
Yeah, that's for me. That's success is happiness. My personal happiness. I don't need $1 million or whatever. $1 million isn't much anymore.
Shit, I'll fucking say
that's what I was about to say. I was like, if anybody wants to hand that over,
I'll take it, but how the way things are.
You can get like 10 new kitchens, bro.
I know, right? If I won the lottery, I wouldn't move. I wouldn't change where I live. There would be signs though. There would be signs, for sure. People would know. Something happened. Happened. I don't know what it is.
There would be signs.
How did he get this 10,000 square foot podcast studio?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I would have like calf implants.
Fucking 30-foot stripper pole.
Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
Dudes put calf implants in their legs. They're like fake calves, so they don't have to work out. And you just like walk around looking jacked all day.
And everything. That's so weird.
I love food too much to have abs. It's just,
I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's just I won the lottery in the height wise, and that's the only thing I can really.
Yeah. I'd have to get like, I don't know. I feel like there's muscles under the fat. I just have to have lipo, maybe.
Same with me, buddy.
And just take it out of here and put it in my butt. Yeah. Not like in it, but in it.
As I feel like I've gotten older, I've just learned not to really care too much more about the body, as long as I'm not dying from that. But like I feel like I'm pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, then that's it's something I want to focus more on is more on and
wow.
Men's health. You know, I mean, not to segregate you.
I understand.
You're not a part of this conversation.
Yeah, no, she's definitely a part of this conversation. I mean, because I can tell you that when I was married, I definitely did not focus on my health, and my partner did not help me. Didn't even think about it. It wasn't a topic. Yeah. It was just go to work. It was like one of those type of things, but I
try to keep yourself busy and not focus on that.
Yeah. Or, just wasn't anything that was thought about, and I definitely didn't myself, but I definitely link like the mental health aspect. You talked about having some issues growing up, and I don't know if you want to talk about any of yours, but I'm going to start picking that Band-Aid. I'm going to start digging on you now. I mean, like, what were some of the moments that you feel like shaped you,
It's a good question, actually. I have to think about that a little bit. So one thing I will say is, like I said, the parents' divorce. I would say that's really the beginning of,
Was that later or earlier?
I was 5 years old, if I remember correctly. I was 5 years old. Parents just, disagreements, and they didn't want to be together anymore, so I understand. Damn. And it was an aggressive one, to be honest with you. They did not like each other for a very, very long time. Court, I could only see my dad every other weekend, and there's reasons behind that. I'm not going to share just since he still works.
Absolutely.
And, my mom still does. But, so that was definitely a big thing. So they divorced. We moved into an apartment from a house, so a little weird. Dad wasn't around, obviously, because of like court stuff and everything like that. It wasn't like he was dangerous or anything like that. It was just, what happened with the courts. So I was like, it's weird not having my dad around and everything. I didn't know what it was. Obviously, he wanted to see me and everything. So then visitation kind of happened, and kind of pieced the story together as I got older. But the main thing I would say is my stepdad came into my life. Todd, shout out to Todd. And having another man in your life, I fought it for the longest time because I was like, you're not my dad, blah, blah, blah. And that was a very big point of contention for us. And I didn't see it then, but he was trying to teach me how to be a man, just like my father was. So I feel like that's one of the big things. But one thing I will say about everybody in my family is they've always been very supportive of anything I want to go forth with, whether it was going through school or, doing the podcast and everything. Right. I'm very lucky to have that support. But yeah, I fought like cats and dogs for a very long time, man. I was one of those teenagers. I was
You
like,
and the stepdad?
yeah, well, not even just them, everybody. I was
Everybody.
pissed off at everybody, man. I was pissed off at the world. Didn't like anything. I thought everybody was wrong. I didn't understand why things were the way they were.
This
But
was in teen years?
yep, teen years,
Yeah,
growing
teenagers
up.
think they know fucking everything.
Oh, I'm sure. As you know, you had a couple kids yourself. But it really took to the point of me moving out and learning what the world really was. And, mommy and daddy don't pay bills, and, you got to work to get what you want kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I fucked around in college and, got my associate's degree and then stopped, and just I need to get back in there and go finish that up. But I would really say just, the parents thing. That was a weird thing, not really
Pivotal
understanding.
moment.
Well, they can't really tell you what's going on.
Right.
I won't understand at 5, 6, 7 years old kind of thing. And as I've gotten older, come to grips with everything. And like we were talking about getting kind of picking that scab a little bit, I'm very much forward with my parents. I have to stop myself with people because I'm such a straightforward person. I don't want to say what the first thing that comes to my mind.
I think that's great.
But
Me too.
yeah, I'm just Shannon,
we need more people like you.
Shannon will look at me. She'll like, "Did you say that?" I'm like, "I'm sorry."
My wife would be like, "You're just too fucking honest. Okay, just learn to lie a little bit."
But there is a difference between being honest and being rude.
True.
And not
There's a fine line.
and not realizing that I'm being rude.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm not saying you're rude.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just like I have dealt with people who
Yeah.
is like, "Oh, I'm just very honest." It's like, no, you're just being mean.
Right. Well, I mean, that goes to I have this philosophy that, like if somebody's being rude to me and I'm upset by it, that's my emotions. And I have to learn how to deal with I'm not there to change them. I've got to figure out, do I want to deal with this person or split? And usually it's split.
Yeah.
But
No, I totally understand that. But just, yeah, kind of that whole thing happened. But another pivotal point I would say would be, my first job, learning to work. And, I would work 5 guys. They kept you out late until around 17, 18 years old. I would work till what would you say, 5? Midnight,
there
1
was
o'clock?
nights that we were there 2 a.m.
Yeah, and I was in high school still.
things were different back then.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. And
Labor laws and such.
Yeah.
Such.
So we dealt with that, but I would just say I got a very strong work ethic watching my mom restart and watch my dad restart after the divorce. And, I was never hungry. I was always clothed, so they did everything that they could, so that's the main thing I always say is I'm very grateful to have parents that care. Could have gone a completely different way, whether, anything else happened.
Yeah.
But made it through that and, just took a strong work ethic, moved out when I turned 18, saved up $5,000. And I was like, bye.
Yeah, they could have been self-absorbed
Yes.
and not paid attention and, kind of let you fall to the wayside. But it sounds like they just didn't want to pay attention to each other.
Yeah, that was the big thing, man. But they grew, and like I said, it's cool to see them being friends now and
It's
everything.
tough, bro.
No,
it's tough.
It's all good. Everybody's cool now, and that's the main thing I can ask for. Is at our wedding, it was cool to see my dad sitting there talking to my mom, laughing and smiling and being friendly. And my stepfather and my dad are friends and are friendly with each other and everything. So it's just there's no point of contentions anymore.
Yeah, I feel like the story, like your story is kind of like my story. It's kind of like my kid's story. A lot of people are dealing with that these days. Split families. I mean, if you're lucky, your parents stay together.
Mm-hmm.
If you're lucky,
If you're lucky, you have a father. Fatherless homes is like a big pandemic in America right now.
I mean, is it okay if we talk about your story, Shannon?
Yeah, it's absolutely fine. Obviously, mine wasn't a result of splitting. Like we said, my family had a tragedy.
Sure.
My dad passed away when I was 3. So if you want to know how, we had a pool when we lived in Florida, and we used to be in it every day. I was sick for a couple days, so instead, my sister went to the friend's house, and we were cleaning the pool. My dad got a leaf blower out just to kind of make them all go to one side, make it quicker, and the cord got tangled up around the ladder in the deep end, and he tripped and fell in, so he got electrocuted.
Oh shit.
So I don't remember. Obviously, I was 3. I don't know if it was just a blocked out thing or just since I
Probably.
was so young.
You were there for it too. She was in front of it.
Yeah, I was helping him clean the pool. So one thing that my mom has told me that I don't remember is he fell in. My dad was saying, help me. And whenever I went to reach for him, I told my mom, Daddy was telling me to help me, but God told me no. Because I would have been pulled in. Even if it was just the touch, who knows?
Yeah.
So I ran in, got my mom. She told me to go to the neighbors, get my sister, and the neighbor's dad came over to help my mom kind of drag my dad out of the pool because he was a big man. He was over 6 feet. Just obviously too much time passed for any resuscitation, but yeah.
Wow.
So we moved up to Ohio then after that. Like I said, I don't remember much of it, so it was just more like kind of growing up without a father.
Yeah.
I didn't have that role per se.
Yeah.
My mom did get remarried once, and he was a complete a-hole.
Complete piece of garbage.
You and I have similar stories.
Yeah. He cheated on her. He would steal.
Yeah.
He actually took my mom's wedding dress that she wore to my dad and gave it to his girlfriend or whatever, along with money and
What
all
a
this stuff.
hero
Yeah.
that guy is.
Yeah.
I'm
so,
glad that he's still not around.
I hope you get
Goodbye.
gout if you're watching. Something, I don't know.
Yeah. So father figure just wasn't really in the picture.
Yeah.
My uncle on my dad's side, he has been a huge, huge support in our life.
Right.
I guess when my dad passed away, he vowed to my mom that he would help take care of us since it was his brother, just how it worked. And that's the main, I would say, male role model that I've had in my life. I know it's a lot
Sorry
to
to get
digest.
deep there. I was like,
man,
you gotta
that-
know her story too.
Yeah.
And my uncle, he does live in Pennsylvania, so it wasn't like, we were seeing him every day or every
Right.
month or whatever, but
Shout out to Uncle Eddie. He's awesome.
yes.
Yeah.
He's been a big help.
Yeah, that is. That's tough. I mean, that is a way to go. I'm kind of speechless a little bit, but I said I had a similar story to you. I mean, and I talked about it on your podcast, but my dad passed away when I was like around the same age, and he took his own life. So it was kind of planned out, I guess.
He went on his own terms.
Yeah, he went to get milk, and I'm still waiting on that shit.
Milk and cigarettes.
I got dry cereal, bro. I'm like 47, and I tell people that, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like it happened yesterday. I'm like, I've gone through therapy.
You dealt with it.
I've kind of dealt with it. I mean, it sucks, and I grew up similarly. Well, we didn't move around anywhere, but my mom did remarry, and he was kind of a douche, and that didn't last very long when she caught him looking in the back window at my sister's taking showers.
Oh.
So yeah, he was the fuck out of there.
Yeah. Understandable.
Can't have
And
that.
then so yeah, I didn't have a lot of good in-home male role models. My granddad. So I kind of feel like that's why I'm such an old soul. I'm an old man already, but yeah, that's tough, man. But yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
But one thing I did want to commend you on as well, though, is like the similar story of like, being the stepfather and kind of taking that role in. I do respect that about a lot of people who take on that role and, actually do a good job of being a parent kind of thing. And like, that's what I've told my stepfather now and, kind of made our way through that because it's hard, man. And obviously I've never experienced it, but, you're taking on someone else's child and then obviously you made them yours, what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And
That's my baby.
that's
That
your
ain't
kid
nobody
and
else's
everything.
baby.
So I always find that very commendable that, like a man willing to step up and do that.
Doing the same thing.
Shout out, buddy. I like to hear it.
Awesome.
You have to have a male role model in your life, and now
It
Shannon
is
has two.
hard.
Yeah, and that's to the point of his fathers now are now my fathers. So I have two,
We're a very close knit family. Like play cards every other weekend, or
That's great.
all the holidays. Like just this past Christmas and everything. We go to 3 houses that day for every holiday
wow.
almost and everything. So
It's like for the wedding, I,
could-
did 2
Absolutely.
father-daughter dances with his dad.
Aw.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I could do a lot better getting together with my family. I'm kind of like,
Yeah, we could do better too, but the schedule is just strenuous.
It happens, man.
And then we have a lot of shit to do.
yeah,
we all have a
everybody
lot of shit to
falls
pack
into
in,
their
yeah.
own lives.
We also
you
live
know?
like a mile or two away from all of our family. That makes it
That
really
is-
so,
easy.
So do we. So I guess
he
we don't
lives
have an
about. I could walk
excuse.
to his house. I could literally walk to their house.
I love it.
But even just being busy with your own jobs and everything
Oh,
going
yeah.
on in your life, it's like
Mhm.
we work Monday through Friday all day. I get
Yeah.
home and it's just like I don't want to
Wanna
go
chill.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents live in the same neighborhood as me, and
They do.
I'd probably see them every weekend, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe.
it's just like that. Like I'm busy, caught up. I got my own chickens. You got your own chickens. Oh, you stay on your side of the block. I'll stay on my side of the block.
Yeah,
right.
it's-
So
Shit happens, man.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, life happens. And I mean, I feel bad. Like I've got 2 sisters. I barely ever see them. And one of them lives in BFE, and the other one on this way in BFE. And I live in BFE according to everyone else, probably you guys too, but, coming out here all the way to OP.
My sister lives in a very small town in Ohio, so we know what it's like to be in the middle of like nowhere.
Oh, okay.
Being out here, though, I work around here all the time.
Right.
So, like, this whole area is on the back of my hand almost, or I know it like the back of my hand.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you were sharp with it. So, I mean, that's good. I didn't know where the hell I was going out by you guys.
Oh, yeah, man. That's why I'm always like, just text me if there's an issue or anything like that.
Yeah. It's Jacksonville traffic is a motherfucker.
That bridge, man. That bridge to Orange Park is a monster over there.
Yeah.
If there's any kind of breaking down or anything like that, it's ridiculous.
Talking about the Buckman?
Yeah, people
Yeah,
act stupid.
messes
They don't know how to
everything
drive. I mean, I go over it like 4 times a day.
No, I'm sure.
So it sucks. But, it's whatever, man. I mean, what the hell was I going to ask you? I had a question on deck, but it doesn't really matter now. I'm just rambling.
Didn't you ask me that there was
rambling.
a hardball or something? I thought you.
I think he
Oh,
already
that
threw
was
it
the
out.
one about the prices of five.
That's what it was.
That was his hardball.
That's right.
Hey,
That's right.
There's your favorite question. You ask him that.
I'm going to save that one real quick. What do you think about the pharmaceutical industries right now and how they're treating mental health and whatnot?
I love that we're getting into these kind of
he went
conversations.
far-
I like this
far
kind of
out
stuff.
there.
I'm throwing a curveball.
So for me, when it comes to, say, pharmaceutical and everything, I'm very much of the mindset, one, if you have life-saving medication, it shouldn't be $14,000 for, 2 pills kind of thing, just because of the insurance
Or like
money.
an EpiPen.
Yeah, there's stuff out there that, they make it for a certain price. You can mark it up a little bit. I understand companies got to make their money and do everything like that. But to mark it up like 5,000%, that's crazy. I forgot the story. There was a story that came out a couple years back, and I think it was a diabetes medication.
Insulin.
Yeah, insulin.
And it was either insulin or something. This dude came out with it, and originally it was like $3 a thing. And then it hit the market, and then it went up to like $5,000 or something astronomical.
Yeah. Pharmacy managers, the middlemen,
They got to get their nut.
they jack it up, man.
Yeah, man.
And that's just how it is. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't agree with a lot of the stuff I see nowadays, man. It's obviously, been on this earth for only 24 years, so I'm sure there's kind of ebbs and flows to how things work in the United States.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it's wrong to do that. But I'm also a very big proponent of like legalization of marijuana and other things,
Here.
psychedelics and all that stuff. Because
Fuck yeah.
we can even just talk about marijuana just in general. There's no side effects really that are crazy detrimental.
There have been cases of people being allergic to it, but outside of that, I mean, and it wasn't like harsh reaction.
Well, that's just because your ancestors fucked you. So,
right.
Yeah.
You're weak and should have been picked off by an eagle.
yeah.
I would say natural selection at work. But just in general, there's so many things that we have on the Schedule 1 list currently that
dumb.
don't really make sense. Even they're working with like psychedelics now to help with PTSD.
Absolutely.
Or what else is like psilocybin and what's the one that's they use in
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
Oh, no, you're talking about
DMT.
ketamine.
Oh,
Ketamine.
ketamine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. And I feel like the only way that we're going to really know how it affects people is if it's legalized and you can study it.
Yeah. I was
And-
actually having this conversation with somebody at work today,
Mhm.
and it was just like, I could go down the road and buy a fucking handle of vodka and come home and just get fucking faced, and then go out and get in that, 2-ton death machine, and just destroy people. And, or not, or whatever, but it's still dangerous as shit.
Mhm.
But you can't enjoy a little weed just because it shows up in your system. It doesn't stay in your system, but it shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Latent, molecules show up in your system, fucking 6-7 days later.
It could last
Depending
for
on how
months.
often-
It could.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I'd much rather someone say like when someone gets off work, they go smoke a joint. The next morning they wake up, they're not hungover.
They can
Right.
go
There's
straight back to
nothing
work.
going on.
Right.
I would hate to hear that, like say a doctor is an alcoholic, comes into work hungover every single day and
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm also of the mindset when it comes to like people, you really shouldn't be able to tell people what they can do.
Put in their body.
Yeah, put in their body kind of thing. And
100%.
obviously, there's people that use heroin and cocaine and all that stuff. But there's legal heroin right now. It's the pharmaceutical.
Adderall.
Yeah, Adderall or what else? Like hydrocodones and all those things.
Oxy.
If you run out of your Adderall, the next thing, and they won't refill it, you're going to go get some fucking heroin.
And you can die from that. There's it's that and
Fentanyl
alcohol.
and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Fentanyl.
That's the scariest thing, man, right now. Like, back in the day where people could go buy a little baggie of something and they're not worried about getting poisoned. Nowadays, it's a 99 or 90% chance of what's in there.
And a lot of it comes from, and my whole argument, well, not the whole argument, but part of the argument, because I don't even smoke weed, but I am all about getting it legalized, everywhere. It should be. I mean, there's states right now that are legal in the states.
100%.
But
It's
federal,
more than half now.
Yeah, but federal won't do it, but
they'd make so much money. Dude,
Bro, if they just taxed it, bro,
oh my God.
and they cut out the black market and said, fuck everybody. Listen to me. Them right here, them cutting this shit out and putting it on Schedule 1 in one state, and in the same fucking state, you let it be medically... What the fuck? Who are you?
I agree.
Who are you?
Yeah, right. Somebody's
Fuck
passionate
you.
about
no,
it.
Listen here. When they do shit like this, they create more jobs.
Yeah.
I.e., if you legalize it, okay, you've given a whole fucking market. But
It cuts out the cartels and bullshit.
when you criminalize it, you've now made jobs for DA agents, ATF.
We'll find them something else to do.
Yada yada yada. All those letter agencies. But here's my point: you create a black
learn
market.
To code?
Huh?
What is the phrase? Learn to code.
Learn to code.
That's what they were telling the coal miners.
You.
They were literally telling coal miners, they're like, because they're going to cut their jobs out because of automation. Sorry, the dogs are going nuts again. There were these people that were like, well, fucking learn to code, bro. Like you're going to a fucking 50-year-old coal
backwoods
miner.
motherfucker from West Virginia learn
Right,
to code.
he's gonna
he
learn
ain't even
how
got
to use a
power in his
computer.
house. What the fuck?
Well,
Right.
that's the thing, man. And like you were saying about the creating your jobs and stuff, it's agriculture, and at the end of the day as well it can be used for multiple different things, like hemp that can make plastic. They can make plastic out of that. That's
fucking planes
biodegradable.
out of it.
Planes.
Well, and they used to.
Yeah.
And it was what is his name? Philip A. Randolph or something. It's Randolph.
Philip Randolph Hearst.
Randolph Hearst.
Yeah.
Put it on the screen.
That's the guy. Yeah, pull him up. Put his ass. Put his mug up there.
Thank you, Jamie.
But he's the one that really kind of started all that shit. The fucking because he had the paper. What's the matter?
There it goes.
Are you trying to figure out how to use a computer?
Well, the main thing that made it become a Schedule 1 was the sweeping act of the 70s or 80s when like hippies were a whole thing and the Vietnam War.
Right.
And that's
they didn't realize that they were making illegal the hemp as well, but he wanted that. He wanted it because he had paper mills. He had a bunch of tree farms and all this shit all over the place. And I think it was called the decorticator is what they came up with. And it was going to make like harvesting the hemp
easier than cotton.
And utilizing it easier than cotton. And he was like, no.
Wait, is this guy? No, labor union?
No.
Civil rights movement?
Wait, I don't think it is.
No, I don't think. You said Hirsch, right?
Yes, Hirsch.
Okay, never mind.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, don't be.
you spell that
Let's
like
not be
H-E-R?
dragging the wrong person here on the internet.
SCH?
Let me try that out.
We'll see.
It should pop up. No, that's the same one.
We might be saying
I
might have
think
been wrong on the name. To be honest with you.
Maybe just search.
I'm just gonna put
who.
Godfather of Hemp.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. You wouldn't call him the godfather of hemp.
I don't know then.
If it comes, it's going to come up like
I would look
who
up
the fuck
Joe
is
Hickey.
Oh,
Hickey?
yeah. 44.
Godfather of industrial hemp. Share watch on starting the.
What should I put?
reinstatement.
I would look who made hemp illegalized.
Yeah, that's probably a better.
Who legalized?
No, illegal. Made it
Oh,
illegal.
illegalized.
Yeah, I would say I think he was the one.
Who
I
made?
think he's high
Who
now.
made hemp?
There you go.
But hell, I was high when I said that. Who made hemp illegal?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that! It popped up.
Yeah,
Somebody.
let's see.
Let's see this motherfucker. Jamal Phillips.
Oh
No,
no.
no. I want to say it's William Randolph Hearst.
Something like that. I agree.
So it says here in.
It never pops up the way you want it
Yeah,
to.
you never.
Early
officially-
history.
I don't see. Despite position 1996, blah, yada, yada, yada. You know what the fucked up part about all this shit is is that you got a whole bunch of motherfuckers that don't listen to their constituents and they make decisions on behalf of them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They say one thing on the campaign trail. When they go into D.C., they go ahead and they get controlled by special interests. And that is a fucking problem here.
Yeah.
You've got to separate money from politics. 100%. That is bottom line.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, you guys see all this stuff that's going on right now. And obviously, I'm not very political. I'm not on one side or the other kind of thing.
Same.
It's very situational. But I mean, I just saw a thing online today where Hunter Biden went into a congressional hearing or something like that. And he just walked out. Yeah. And people are just screaming back and forth, and it's not held to the prestige of what it used to be. And obviously, I was not around for earlier times, but it's weird seeing how everything is working now. And I'm not like a conspiracy theory guy. I love listening to him and talking about him, but I'm not like a believer of it.
Yeah.
But it just seems like it's manufactured fighting. It's just fighting back and forth between everybody. And obviously, like if you have a differing opinion with me, I'm not going to come across this table and fight you because of it. I'm willing to have this conversation, and maybe you can change my mind, or maybe it makes it easier for me to give my reason why I believe that kind of thing. And it's just nowadays with social media and the news, it's like I don't know what to believe really.
Well, like I heard someone talking today about the way they think that it should go. Like instead of talking about the things we disagree about, let's find the things that we agree on, talk about those subjects, and then build from there. But I remember being a kid even, and I didn't pay attention to politics, but I mean, I remember when Ronald Reagan was president, and all that shit,
Jesus, was that Stone Tablet times?
Fuck off.
That was when they invented the wheel.
Oh, heard that.
Hey, fuck you, man. No, but
Before the wall.
Before the war, yeah, that was the
Ronald Reagan,
the banjo. It's all coming back now. No, but and I remember peace talks. That was a big thing. That people would talk about when the adults would talk about politics. They were like, "Oh, they're over here and they're having peace talks in Russia."
Was that post Cold War era? Post Cold War,
I believe.
Okay,
but I mean, either way, I'm just saying we don't even I don't think. I haven't heard, unless it's just not televised, which is another thing about media. We're in the media. We're part of that conglomerate now.
We are not.
No, we are, because we're adding our little shit to the mix.
Yeah, but this is long-term format. You got there's two different types of media.
Of course,
you got
long format. Yeah.
Long format, and then you got that
7-minute interview.
Hi, I'm Don Lemon, and here's some lies.
Oh, yeah.
Or hi, I'm Fox. It's both sides.
Well, I mean, any way you cut it, really, like you could take, say, however long this podcast is, you could cut things into a 5-minute thing and make me sound terrible. You know? And like that's what I feel like they do.
I plan on it.
That sounds great.
Wow.
But no, it's crazy seeing what all the stuff that goes on in the media nowadays. And, like I'll talk to like grandparents and stuff, and they feel so strongly about certain things. I'm like, why do you feel so strongly about that? And by this time, it doesn't affect you. It's affecting my future that we're going to have to go in like a house right now.
And your future children and their children. And, it's like we should be paving the way, and we're not. We're only concerned about what the fuck is on our minds and the things that we feel passionate about. And I mean, I can't do it, man. I can't get into little squabbles with people about gender and stuff like that. That's a touchy subject. I have to be, you got to steer it around.
Well, no, you're fine with that one. Like I've always talked about it is like, I don't care what color you are, whatever you identify as, it's fine, but you can't like force me to do certain things or
don't
like
come at me with 75 pronouns and expect me to remember all of that shit.
Well, for example, like if someone's trans and say they transition from a man to a woman, and I said sir, and they said, hey, I'm ma'am now, and and they let me know off the bat, I'm like, that's fine, I'm very sorry, and we'll continue to address you by that. But the whole thing where people come across the table because you gendered them or whatever it is kind of thing, I find it a little aggressive. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not that kind of person. So maybe they've gone through other situations that made them act to that point. But I feel like you have to kind of go base by base person. And, we all can be a little bit nicer to each other.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I feel like the days of people talking, I mean, I don't know. I'm not trans or, a different pronoun or whatever, but maybe they have persecution. Maybe there are things that are hard in their lives, but I feel like we're at a place now where it's like, hey, everybody is accepting of everything.
Yes.
However, how much of your life do I need to involve myself in? You know what I mean? Like, that's fine if you want to do that, and I'm not going to judge anyone. But like you said, if I fuck up, and misgender you or mispronoun you or whatever, hey, don't fucking shoot me in the face by it. You know what I mean? But there was a time that we saw that they took it literally the opposite
0
direction.
to 100.
Yeah, it was like
real quick.
Like if you didn't agree with what they said, you were now a Nazi. And I'm like, do you guys know what Nazis are? I don't think you do.
People are just trying to make words nowadays that just stop what you're saying or
buzzwords.
Buzzwords kind of thing. And
here's my thing though, like none of this would have started if the media hadn't ushered it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just saying.
Right.
It had never gotten to this level had the powers that be hadn't got involved on the subject. It's just not who's your place to even worry about someone's sexuality.
Well, who's controlling the narrative? That's the problem. And there definitely is a fucking narrative with today's media.
100%. And the thing is with the news, is if it bleeds, it leads kind of thing. I've heard that said before, and they're not putting feel-good stories out there anymore because no one's clicking. That's what they're worried about is the clicks and the sponsorships and blah, 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 blah. And they're not trying to give us the real news on what's really going on in the world. Like, I don't think I've ever watched the news in general because every time
I used to. But that's what I grew up with. We didn't have the internet. If you wanted to know something, you turned on the fucking news or opened the paper.
You can't even trust the internet anymore really nowadays. There's stuff getting changed around and AI is becoming a whole thing now too. So that's the part that's going to get really weird on seeing what's really real and what's not.
Wow.
Should have asked that question earlier, Pat.
Yeah, what do you think about AI? Wait, hold on.
That's his favorite
Here
question.
you go.
I let him ask it every fucking podcast.
I'm down.
So we've already talked about AI. Here's another question. How many wars?
He needs his own podcast.
How many wars in the next 10 years do you think AI is going to start?
It can get very weird.
I don't think there will be a war. I think they're just going to kill humans.
Well, what I think...
They're very inefficient.
We're basically at war with ourselves
let me expand
already,
on that.
though.
With like deep fakes and stuff like that.
Now, it could be very true because, like things like go to Korea, obviously they have their own things. Everything's very enclosed in because of the, what's their kind of government called? I'm sorry.
Communist,
thank you.
Regime.
Just like Russia, they don't see what's going on in the United States. Same with China and all that.
They do.
Russia
does.
Russia's aware,
they got their fingers in everybody's
Russia
shit.
and China are best friends.
But they're also not... they're not letting their people see, is what I meant to say. They're not letting their people see what's going on in America and other things. And to be honest, we're all fighting ourselves right now. If they did want to attack us, they could do it really well right now because we're all killing each other.
Have you guys seen, they are still putting out propaganda over there. Okay. And I saw and you might be able to Google this and look it up. I don't know. But I saw a fucking ad for, how we have like the for pennies a day, your money can help feed
this animal.
Yeah, well that's like the dogs. That's the ASPCA.
I still
but
fucking cry over that shit.
Same difference. But
it hits too hard.
When they would show like little Ethiopian babies with their distended bellies, and they're like,
it's like help get them clean water.
Right, and
like,
none of that money went to that. None of it.
Not.
None of it.
Like the Haiti.
But there was an ad that was like propaganda that they were showing the Russian people about America, that they were getting donations to send to America to feed starving families. Which is funny because obviously none of that money came here.
Right.
If there ever was any money paid. But we do have some problems. We got a lot of homeless motherfuckers out there.
Yep.
We do. But that was a whole. Did you try and look that up? No.
Oh wait, what are we looking up? Oh, refresh my mind.
The Russian propaganda for like.
Well, Russia, they're going to scrape whatever the hell they can out of their people.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to show that on this podcast.
Did you see the crazy thing that happened in California where they cleaned up all the homeless people?
Just for Xi Jinping?
Yeah, Xi Jinping.
They just bust them off to Vegas?
Yep, just took them all away. And they're like, whenever a guest comes over, I think it was Gavin Newsom said it. He was like, whenever your guests come over, you clean your house. I'm like, that is the most sinister thing I think I've ever heard in my life.
Smiled.
When I'm going to tell you, I grew up in Mandarin, okay? So when the Super Bowl was here for the, I think it's only been here once, right?
Yeah,
once.
It was really, really early.
I don't pay attention to fucking sports.
I understand, I do.
But that's why I kind of asked, because I don't want to sound stupid on camera. But when they had the Super Bowl here, I grew up in Mandarin. We had one bum, and come to find out, he wasn't even a bum. He just liked to sit on the bench, the bus bench.
He's just one of those old people.
We called him Mr. Wendell, and he just sat there all day. And people used to try and bring him like blankets and food and shit. He's like, I want that. He's like, I got a house
Like, I'm
right
taking
there.
care of. Leave me
Yeah,
alone.
yeah. He just liked to go out there and people watch. You know, I'm like, oh, geez. All right, fine.
Well, I mean, back in those, like, not making a joke about your age, but like back in those days, like a teacher could buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, me and Shannon both work, and you know, we're not killing it money wise, but there's no way in hell I can buy a house right
Yeah.
now. There's no way with the way the interest rates are. We just went and bought her a car.
Right.
Their first offer to us was 13% APR.
Check
I'd
back
have
in
walked out the door.
I
Check
told
back
him-
in about a year and a half.
I
I got the inside scoop.
I've been hearing about it. That's why we just re-signed our lease, and we're hoping by this time, like in about a year, we can go whoop, just sneak
yeah.
on in and
I
grab
would
one.
start
Get
looking
some.
on
I will tell
Zillow
you-
right now.
I will tell you right now that interest rates will not be below 2020, or excuse me, interest rates will not be below 6% until about 2026.
That doesn't surprise me. But 6% is better than 10 to 20.
I
Yeah.
get
Well,
get
that's
that.
not what I
Yeah.
heard.
They're at
but
7.8 right now.
That's
Yeah.
not what I
so-
heard, Patty. I'm just saying.
Well,
they're gonna be much lower.
I got
Get your
I got
people
a
to
guy.
talk to my people, and
Yeah.
we'll figure some
I
numbers
got
out.
a guy.
If
okay?
anybody's selling a house, if they want like
100%.
$5,000, I got you
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
I listen to Tom Ellsworth off a PBD podcast, and he's very good, very financially literate, and he's called for it as well. So just with interest rates and inflation, and the thing about inflation as well is the numbers don't reflect energy, housing costs, and groceries.
Well, that's the thing I was going to tell you guys about buying a house.
Mhm.
It's not what it's fucking cracked up to be.
Yeah.
Anything that breaks, you can't just call the maintenance guy.
it's cheaper
Yeah.
to rent right now than it is to own.
But
But
in
I mean-
our old apartment,
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
maintenance guy didn't fix anything.
Oh.
They just kept putting band-aids.
We went 2 years with our air conditioning going out every week.
That's fine.
and every week they're just need some.
Well, you guys are in a
Freon."
good spot now.
Oh yeah, we're chilling right
Nice.
now.
Now is good.
We had a flood happen. Like one day, me and Shannon are sleeping, and she wakes me up. She heard water dripping.
No, I thought the cat was getting into something. Like
Oh,
I got
Jesus.
up prepared to beat the cat's butt. I was like, it is like 7:00 in the morning on a Saturday. This is my sleeping day.
Yeah.
So I got up angry already.
Yeah. Animals don't
Walked
give a
out in
fuck.
the living room. It was not the cat.
Oh, okay.
No. There was water coming from our ceiling, all our light fixtures, everything
Did someone
was.
die in the bathtub or something? Like,
No.
what happened?
So whenever the person upstairs from us moved in, they didn't hook up their washer correctly.
Maintenance.
And they turned it on. She left to go do something, and it just ran. There was about an inch of water in her apartment, and it all came down through our ceiling. And guess what? They didn't give us our security deposit back when we left.
Yeah, they
course.
actually
Yeah, you guys
asked
fucked
for
up
more
the
money.
ceiling.
Yeah, I was like, you guys are freaking slumlords. Coventry Park, I hope you burn.
Shouts out.
Hope
No,
you
Shout
burn.
out.
Anti-shout out.
Yeah.
Ze-
Fuck you.
0-star review. Everybody there is trash.
Yeah.
It was
I just,
terrible.
And your mom's a hoe.
You're
Well,
right.
especially that day, like water just continually was dripping. So it wasn't just put in a maintenance request. I was going up to the office multiple times, like,
Yeah.
you need to get someone here.
yeah.
And I was putting buckets. I had to keep dumping and putting more buckets. I tried getting the manager of there just to come and see what we're dealing with, so she knew how serious it was. She saw Connor walking up, and she turned around and went right back into her office.
Oh, he's so big and intimidating.
It's like, well, yeah. And then I
I'm
went
just
up one
big. I
time.
don't
It's
know
like,
about intimidating.
oh, maintenance just went to lunch. I'm not exactly sure when they'll be back.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I have a flood in my apartment. Like, there's water
Coming
Yeah.
out of the fixtures.
coming out of the fixtures.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We were not
Yeah,
happy.
somebody's washing machine is about to fall through my ceiling. Like, I don't want to die. You know.
And then we had to deal with the mold and all that.
Yeah, absolute slumlords. And funny enough, like you've been to my apartment, much more of an upgrade.
Yeah.
They raised rent. They had the balls to raise rent like $200-$300 when our contract came up. I was like, you can fuck off.
The other place.
The other-
Oh, okay.
So we found this apartment. I literally went and saw it. She wasn't there. I was like, hey, we need to sign papers. I'm like, no. I was
Yeah.
like,
This is 100 million times better.
well, it was like an extra like 300, 400 square feet. We had an
An extra
outside balcony, nice little lake view,
Yeah.
a little fancy. I felt big about myself for a minute.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but or if you've even paid attention when I was there at your place last time. There was something going on out behind your building. It was like there was a bunch of people in PJs, and it looked like they were doing
At the
chant-
bonfire.
At the bonfire.
Was that what it was?
Yeah,
There's
Okay.
a ton of people like
I was
every
like-
weekend.
I was like, is this like a Wiccan thing? What are they doing? Are they chanting over there? Should I get in on this? Like, can I curse someone that I don't like? Or
Throw an effigy in there.
What are we doing? Are we making like voodoo dolls? What's happening?
sacrificing to Moloch?
No, there's quite a crowd is typically out there, I'd say weekly.
Mhm.
They get a
That's cool.
huge group of people.
So
and
it's all
just
people
cook
that
out.
live in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really chill in there. It's a lot of older couples or
Yeah.
college kids and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
not loud till 3:00 in the morning. It's very quiet. We don't know any of our neighbors. We've never talked to a single one of them, which has
Say
been
hi
nice.
to them, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
That awkward.
Yes.
I don't really want to talk to you. Like when someone says, "Hey, how's it going?" You're like, "Well," and you go into your whole day, and it's like, that was rhetorical. I really just wanted to be pleasant.
I was hoping you said good.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's just
And
a
move
high
on.
five and
Do
go,
you,
bro.
you guys ever do this move? Someone gives you the head nod. You're like,
Yeah,
you
I do when somebody gives me the up head nod,
Mhm.
I do the down head nod so I can just keep walking. Like,
That's a new one. I'll have to try that.
and I just keep it popping.
That's hilarious. I
But
love
really,
that.
at our apartment complex, there's only one neighbor that I see often.
Yeah.
I would say daily. We get home around the same time, and I mean, we're very friendly. Just, hey,
Yeah.
how's it going? She has a husband and a child, so we just see them out walking around. That's the only neighbor that I think
That you
I
actually
really
speak
say,
to.
hey, yeah.
Yeah, living in a cul-de-sac, it's like living in your own continent.
Yeah.
And these are the only people that live on the island with me. It's just like, what the fuck? None of them probably like me right now because this past month, my whole cul-de-sac has been filled up with big trucks and trailers and saws and shit's been going off to the wee hours. And then when I do my podcast, there's cars parked everywhere. We take over. This is my cul-de-sac.
No,
But
I
it's
love it.
better to have a cul-de-sac and rather than being on a 2-lane street
Right.
and having all those trucks and everything out there.
100%.
You still got the space.
Just for me, we want a house just so we can have our own space. We don't
Yeah.
have to answer to
A yard.
Yeah, we don't have to answer to the overlords. We can paint our walls whatever color we
Put
want.
holes
You
in
know.
the wall of hang pictures.
Yeah, just that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But yeah,
Well, I can tell you, it is a freeing feeling to own a home. I've owned, this is my third home, but my first home by myself.
hmm
When I was married, we had bought 2 houses, and then not at the same time.
Oh, I was
we
like,
had a
oh.
house, we sold that, then we had a house
Gotcha.
built. And then when I left that, I didn't have shit. I mean, back then, at that time, more money, but when I left, man, I didn't have shit.
Yeah.
So getting this, I mean, I was like, fuck it. This is like the Taj Mahal to me, and it was old as shit. 1974, built in 1974. So, a couple of years before I was built,
You're still a twinkle in my eye.
yeah. I wasn't even a twinkle in my dad's nutsack. And nothing was done to this place.
Yeah.
So it's just basically when the guys came in, I said, fuck it, rip it all out. I don't care. Rip
I
it
was
all
just
out.
about to say it's like building your own home.
Basically.
So
Yeah. And what's funny is their house that they bought is the exact same fucking floor plan.
Oh, is that
That is
same layout?
hilarious.
Yeah, the exact. I was like, I went in their house. I was like, this is my house. What are you doing?
And it's funny because our garage is actually converted to like a den.
yeah,
Hey, that's
they
a
actually,
wall right
yeah,
here.
That is
Yeah.
so funny.
yeah.
Do you talk about what you do for a job, or do you currently work?
Not really.
You're good.
Yeah.
I,
He's
too-
ex-military.
Yeah, not too often.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about that though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I work. Yeah.
that's fun.
He's
You want to talk about what?
You're ex-military.
Yeah.
I got some
mean, just-
interesting work stories
I
for you.
work with
Okay.
ex-military people, so.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm gonna say
Both
John.
of you are
Shout out to
yeah,
John.
John. He is. Everyone thinks that he was like a spy.
I could see
Even
it.
his own family.
He's a fucking spy for sure.
He's a plant.
Jiggy briggy.
But
yes.
yeah, so what I do for a job is I'm a pest control technician as well as a salesman for them. Not gonna say the name of the company. It's a small, medium-sized
Yeah.
company here in Jacksonville, and we see a lot. I've had everything from one story I had, not to bring the podcast down, but
No, bring it down.
one was
Could be fun.
This is my first year working at the company, and I, going around, I was trained up, did everything, and we deal with rodents, ants, cockroaches, spiders, anything you really need.
Well, I don't need them.
Not you, but
Anything you need taken care of.
That finish the sentence, man.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff. And I remember knocking on this door. It is in a not very affluent part of town in
Yeah.
Jacksonville, downtown Jacksonville. I knock on this lady's door, and she opens the door, and 5 rats run away as she opens the door.
Fun.
It gets worse.
Oh hell no.
It gets
just
worse.
let her pets out.
It gets worse.
Hell no.
So I was
exactly
there
what's
to
going on.
exterminate rats. So that was a very
Did you start stomping when they came out?
no.
Fucking walked in there with some bird
Fucking a
shot.
cinder block.
I'm not that much of a savage, man. I can't do it. So I walk in and I'm going to do a initial inspection. And in the older houses, when they put the outlets near or on the baseboards.
Yeah.
So I saw one that was on.
Wow.
I saw one on the ground, and I'm like, that's weird. So I just pushed it back in with my foot. And all you see is a little rat hand just come out of nowhere and just push it back out. I was like, oh my God.
Hey, I'm trying to get some air in
This
here.
is my door.
I'm like, where am I at right now?
This is Jerry. He
Yeah.
was in there. He's going to go get the cheese.
We need Tom in there.
Yeah.
But the craziest thing was that same house, she had multiple kids, and one of her kiddos walked up to me, and she showed me her feet. I'm like,
Oh, no.
this is weird.
Please tell me they
And
weren't.
the tips of her toes were gone because the rats would eat on them at night.
Oh.
And she
Like,
told
I feel
and she
them
told me that.
nibbling my feet when I'm going to sleep.
That's crazy.
Oh, when I tell you like tears in my, I was like, Jesus, I was not prepared for that. So did my job. There was nothing we could really do for the house. I put as many traps out. You basically need to burn that thing down. That happened. And whenever I do a job, you have to put your notes in and what chemical usage, blah, 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 all that stuff that you put in. 10 minutes later, I get a call from the rental company that owns that house. They're like, hey, are your notes correct? Because I said about the girl, I was like, hey, I'm like, this is going on, blah, 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 blah. 10 minutes later, DCPS calls me. Our Child Protective Services called me.
right.
And they're like, is this true? I'm like, yes, ma'am. I'm like, look at my pictures and everything that I took. And yeah.
They let you take pictures of the children's feet?
I did not take a picture of the children's feet because they're
Okay.
underage,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I took
yeah.
pictures of what the house situation was
Right.
like, and then the notes of, hey, this little girl's toes have been eaten off by rats. So we went through that.
Like when you say eaten off, like how badly?
So you think about your finger. That was the worst ASMR I've ever had in my ear. So think of your finger, right? So you have your knuckle, this knuckle, and your third knuckle. Your toes, you have 2 knuckles.
Right.
So basically to the first knuckle.
Get the fuck
On
out.
a couple,
the
on a
fuck?
couple toes, almost close to that. Obviously, there's bones in there, so it was like around the bone.
But
Kind
her
of thing.
nails were missing.
Yeah, like nails were popping off and everything, and like she had it wrapped up and all. It
I'd
was,
be afraid that she's got some kind of weird disease from that.
she was so sweet, man. Such a a young
Yeah,
child, man.
kids don't know any better.
No, she just that was her living situation. She just
Right.
thought this is normal, and she got taken away from that.
Jeez.
That's
Yeah.
like how the fucking plague starts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Oh yeah, man. I've
Yeah.
seen all kinds of stuff
That
like
chills
that.
me to the bone, man. No pun intended. Sorry.
That was messed up.
Sorry.
But yeah, like that whole situation, I've gone into places where there's cockroaches from ceiling to wall, or all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oof.
Homeless people jumped out at me, all that.
I watched did you ever watch Dirty Jobs?
Yeah, of course, with Mike
Hell
Rowe.
yeah.
Yeah, I fucking love that show.
love
But
that.
he went in and they did an extermination thing, and they like started spraying, and there was like, I can't remember what kind of way they were called, but there were these little,
The German
German
cockroach.
might be
Cockroaches.
the German
Yeah,
ones,
I
those
remember that
tiny ones,
episode.
but they just like, he started
Yep.
spraying, and they just,
That keeps me in business right there.
that gave me, I had to turn it off, man. It
Mhm.
gave me the heebie-jeebies.
I can walk
Yeah,
into
cute.
someone's house and the way it smells, I know they have cockroaches.
Really?
Because,
Did you smell anything in my house?
No, your house is great. No, but like
We
it's
have palmetto bugs.
well, that's different. Like
Yeah.
German
Oh, I hate
cockroaches,
palmetto
you can
bugs.
smell them because if there's one, there's like 100, 200,
Yeah.
300 kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've gone to people's houses. I'm like, I'm like, nope.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's
I am not eating off your plates.
Oh, dude, I take care of restaurants. I'm not gonna name any restaurants because that's rude. But I've gone in.
You're like, I'm not
No,
eating here
fuck
no
that.
more.
oh, dude, there's so
yeah,
many.
there's places he's like, I would not go to that one.
Oh, it's nasty with
Calls
some
you up,
restaurants.
Shannon, we're canceling the dinner plans. We're
Yeah.
gonna find another place.
I will say 99% of the restaurants I go into are clean. I will give them
Yeah.
that here in Jacksonville. But the ones that are not, they are definitely not.
Now, when you go into a restaurant, it's not. I mean, it's a little fucked up.
Mhm.
Do you have to like report that to like the health inspection?
You
team?
can. That's really a bad way to keep your client list.
Yeah.
But you do make notes because basically by law they have to have a pest control company that comes by every
Right.
some month. So I'm sure they're monitored in some way, shape, or form
Mhm.
because we send work orders back to them and everything.
Okay.
But no, I'm not calling the health department.
I didn't
and all
know if
that
it
stuff.
triggered whenever you made a report. If it like triggered something with them.
I'd have to ask. That's interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of companies that were audited. So, like for example, just to name a big company, we don't work with them, but Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is a audited account,
That's
just
God's
like
chicken.
Yeah, the Lord's chicken.
Yeah.
That's
And-
God auditing that shit right there, boy.
Yes, sir.
he
But-
takes care of it.
Uh huh.
But
Sorry.
Better recognize.
I love it. But yeah, you go in there and they basically get looked at every couple months by a health department and all this other stuff. They tell them what they need to fix and everything. So it just depends on the restaurant.
It's just like Stereotech when we worked at Five Guys. They would come in every. Obviously, it's not scheduled because they don't want to catch you off guard. But they would come in every couple months.
They would send secret choppers in there, and they would basically like rate your performance. If you were nice, they would see how clean it was back there and all that kind of stuff. And then the big guys would come in, and then they would basically do the white finger glove test all over. And if you were the manager, you had to walk with them to every single part that they were going to. And meanwhile, you're texting people like, "Hey, put this away, put this away."
It's like, hurry up and change that. Hurry up and do that.
Change it. Yeah.
I fully I know that. I was a store manager for a large southern grocery chain. I won't say the name.
Have a good idea.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't like to give them props.
I understand.
Because fuck them. That's why.
Fuck them.
Because fuck them. That's why.
That's why.
Why not?
Yeah, but no, and I was the guy. I was the compliance guy.
Thanks, sir.
Oh, he's out of water.
Could
have gave him mine.
Coming in clutch.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pee soon.
I'm like a camel. I can hold it.
Well, you're a big guy. You probably got a larger bladder than me. Oh, he just needed to spit into something. Is that what it was?
Oh, I had a Zen in my mouth. It hit its life course there, so I just put it in there.
Nice. That's hot.
Thanks.
That's hot. But yeah, I did all anytime there was health and safety and asset protection stuff, I did all of that shit. So anytime the people would come in, I had to walk with them. We had our internal people that I had to walk with, and then of course I got pretty close with some of the health and safety people that would come around that worked for the city, and they knew me because they wouldn't even look for, like, when I was not the store manager, when I was underneath them, they wouldn't even go look for the store manager. They would just find me.
They're like, we like dealing with you.
Well, because they knew I knew my shit, and I did really well in those exams.
Careful with how far you pull things.
Oh,
you
yeah.
keep getting it caught in your leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one bad thing about these wires.
No, you're good, man.
He just keps pulling on it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, give it back.
If you pull on it, you're gonna go blind.
Wait, what?
Is that why I'm losing? Is that why I'm wearing glasses now?
That's why my vision's
That's why.
fucked
Yeah,
up.
that's why I had to get glasses this year.
I used to see 20/20, and then
Well, they also say pulling on it makes it bigger. So.
I wish that was true.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Patty.
He was ready with
He
it.
can't. Yeah. So, what the fuck were we talking about?
We were talking about you going
Sanitation.
Compliance.
through, compliance, all that stuff.
How the people
really,
would come find you rather than the manager.
Yeah, I really want to hear more fucked up stories about your job.
Oh, you want to hear more? So we've taken care of a couple of different, a little bit more on the ghetto side areas. Like, I'm not gonna name the street because people are gonna hate me for it.
Yeah, it's okay. They don't listen to this.
Yeah, right. But like,
no one does really.
You go
I got
down.
like one listener. It's me.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. As long
Make three.
We had 5 in here earlier.
Hey, that's right. As long
It
as
was
you have
all his
supporters.
friends. Yeah.
But what was I gonna say? So I've seen, going downtown, you see people who are hungover, like they're standing, but they're bent over, like they look like they're tying their shoe,
yeah.
but they're just high on drugs. Or, going into, one thing that made me mad was there's a homeless shelter in Jacksonville, not gonna name it, but I would go in there and the building's falling apart. I'm just like, what's going on? There's like rats going across people's bed and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I would go talk to the people who live in the shelter, and I'd be like, hey guys, I would have them all sit down. I'm like, hey guys, this is one way you can help yourself, because at the end of the day, I can only do so much.
Right.
And they're very receptive to it. But there was one part where in the men's part, because men and women are segregated for obvious reasons, make sure everybody's safe. There was a hole. It looked like an old cylinder used to be in there, but it went down 3 floors.
Oh.
And they were dumbfounded that rats were getting in and all this other stuff. And I would go up to these people who were like the leaders of it, who make $150,000 a year.
I was just gonna say,
Like, who even knows? Yeah.
I was gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say, well, I guess there's maybe not as much money in homeless shelters as there should be.
Bullshit!
I agree. The thing is, they want their money up. They want their pockets being paid up there, and then,
But it's a non-for-profit, right?
Yeah, it's like
but
a
they
non.
still get lined.
Well, how many times do you guys see on Facebook nowadays? You see like, oh, we're doing an event. Please come out and raise money for this, and this. And I'm like, how much of this money is really going towards it?
Right.
Like, that's the thing is, I would love to be able to donate money, and then you get a receipt on saying, hey, this is where this went. This is where that went.
Never happened.
Give me the tax or the right
You're
breakdown.
never gonna get the breakdown.
No. And seeing stuff like that. Another one that happened the week before our wedding, literally the week of our wedding, actually. We deal with houses that are empty for rental companies, and we unlock them. So like they have the little lock boxes in the front door. They give you the code and all that stuff. So you go in. So I'm doing that, make noise, all this kind of stuff. And I always announce myself when I enter one of these homes. You never know. Someone breaks a window, homeless person, blah, blah, blah.
Could be in there chilling.
Yeah. So I do that. And I took one step in the house and I look to my right and I see 2 little pink Crocs. I'm like, And
That's odd.
And then I see there's feet in them.
It wasn't like he was sitting there for a second, just, there's some Crocs.
And
it was like he walked in, there they are.
And then all you see is a person just boom, like right at me. I was like, oh, like I tell you, I turned into Usain Bolt for a second and like ran down the road in my boots. I was out of there. It just scared the absolute hell out of me.
Yeah.
So had that stuff. There's all kinds of things, man.
Wow.
I would say I've done it for about 3 or 4 years now, so I've had a lot of interesting situations.
Wow. No, that's crazy, man.
It's gross.
It's gross. Yeah. Have you tagged along with them at all?
No, I will not do that. I hate bugs. I hate them.
I've had rats fall on my head and all that stuff, and
Do you like change your fucking clothes before you go home, or like?
So if I'm dealing with like bed bugs and stuff that could like really like move into your house,
stand out in front of your job site just naked, just burning that shit.
No, like people probably think I'm crazy. I strip in front of my apartment door and then I'd run straight to the washer and just put it in there because you just never know. Like an egg gets on you, or
it's over.
Yeah, and we deal with ones where like I've gone into houses where like the whole wall is black because of like excrement and everything else, and people are like, we don't understand what this is. It's just like, we moved this couch in here from outside and now we have all this. And I'm like, looking at them like, come on guys, I'm like, put this together now. But it's weird. You do see a lot of mental health issues with people as well. Like I've gone to people's houses where they swear they have bugs and they're like scratching and doing all that stuff and they're just high,
And they're like pointing like, look, there's a bug there. It's like, that's not a bug.
Yeah. You're seeing shit, man. You're looking into a 5th dimension, bro.
Insectophobia.
Yeah, there's different stuff, man. But it's an interesting job. It wasn't the job I picked, but it was the job that paid the most. So just been doing it.
Wow. Yeah, that's... Well, now that we've thoroughly grossed everyone out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I asked. What are your plans for your pod, man?
So, like I was telling you, the YouTube side of things is going to be coming up soon, and I'm going to nerd out with you and asking some camera stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, what our big goal is now is to build up the studio and start doing the YouTube channel and actually posting videos and everything. We've been lucky enough where we're starting to get some support, and this is actually the first place I'm announcing it. We actually got our very first sponsor for the podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Man.
So, appreciate it. So they reached out the other day. You might have heard them on other podcasts. It's called BetterHelp.
Oh, yeah.
I have heard of BetterHelp.
Yeah, so they're like a therapy service and everything. So, going to be working with them. Got a 1-year contract with them now, so that's big.
Awesome.
Very happy with that. But just the main goal is just getting out there and talking and getting with people and trying to find more businesses. I would love to sit down with more of like the athletes here in Jacksonville as well. Like obviously Jaguar players, but Jumbo Shrimp, all that stuff, and just kind of make different avenues, And I want to sooner or later be able to, if I start making good money from the podcast, I would love to be able to start throwing that back into the Jacksonville, do that and make myself, if I can make a 501c or some kind of charity in general where I know for a fact where this money is going because I'm the one spending it kind of
thing. Show me the receipts, damn it.
Yeah, so just really just doing that and just building it, man, just trying to grow. And one of the big things this is my very first podcast where I've ever been interviewed.
Well, that's good, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully people will actually, watch. No, I'm just kidding. They do. We get a lot more after the fact.
Of course,
than live.
yeah.
But I just do it live because it makes it easier. I don't have to edit anything. It's just already there.
I sent out that link to everybody today.
Yeah,
I was like, come check it out.
For sure. As long as we didn't fuck it up and have to. No, he didn't. He got it right today.
What? Oh, restart the.
No, we get gremlins a lot. And with live, when you're doing live shit, you get gremlins. And what I mean by that is like a camera will be fucked up, or something's not focusing right, or there's like a buzz. Like what the fuck?
Just like, how can I mess with them just a little?
Just a little bit. And if you watch or listen to any of our podcasts, I leave all that shit in.
Oh yeah.
I honestly don't care. I mean, but we'll sit here for 5 minutes trying to figure out what a buzz is.
What power cord is touching an audio cord?
Right. As soon as you get a power cord touching an audio cord, or the dogs would be going ballistic or something. Yeah. And I've always been of the mind that like if you point it out, people will forgive you. Like if you just try to ignore it, like
It's not there.
It's not happening.
Not happening.
Don't know what's going on.
They're sitting there
not
going,
happening.
I hear your fucking dogs. I hear your fucking dogs.
It's like our cat feeder. Every time it goes off, he's like, "There's Copper's cat feeder."
Right,
We all know
right.
by now.
Is that how I sound?
No.
That's funny. Is that how you feel? Is that how you sound? Is that right?
It's just my guy voice.
I like your rendition of Connor. That's pretty good. Now you do her now.
I don't know if I can get my voice that high, to be honest with you. Let's say the squeaky side.
No, I don't want to start any shit from you guys.
Oh,
right?
no, man. To be honest, like, people they think it's funny that me and her, like, we spend 90% of our time together, you know, whether it's work, podcasting, or whatever it is. And we just
That's the way it should be, right?
Yeah, man. We don't get sick of each other. Like I said, I asked her to move in 1 month into us dating, and just been like this ever since. Funny story to move back to that a second.
Yeah.
So the first night she stayed over at my apartment, I was so freaking scared of like her being there. I literally slept on the complete other side of the bed, didn't like cuddle
What a
her.
gentleman.
Like the very edge.
Literally, like, well, my thing is,
I'm a gentleman.
I'm a big dude, so I can see that being
Were you
intimidating.
afraid you were gonna squish her?
No, not that. Like, I never wanted a girl to feel uncomfortable, kind of thing, because today's world, there,
Well,
the smallest thing
Let
could
me
be.
tell you a little tip. If she agreed to sleep over at your place, she's probably pretty fucking.
Hey man, I
comfortable
was
with
new to the game. I was like 18 years old. I was trying to be nice and respectful, and obviously it worked and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But
No, for sure. I mean, I've been there, dude. I didn't lose the V until I was about 21, 22 years old.
Wow.
So I waited a long time.
there's
you
nothing
know.
wrong with that, man. I started
wrong.
way too early. I was
Yeah.
like 14, 15 years old.
see.
Didn't know what the fuck I was doing with my world, you know, and like,
Well, that's the reason I waited because, like, I knew, like I said, I grew up. The only male role models I had were old people,
yeah.
and they were very level-headed. So I kind of grew up a little level-headed. I was nutty. I was a little nutty, but I was still like, when it came to like relationships and stuff like that, I was like, no. I knew exactly what I wanted. And I knew what I didn't want,
Yeah.
and that kind of shit. And I was just like, I'm not trying to get anybody pregnant early.
100%.
And I was very respectful of me,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like, and I was introverted as fuck, and I didn't know how to talk to women really,
Yeah.
so I was just shy as shit. It was hard for me to date.
Yeah.
So I was like, whatever, man. If shit happens, it happens. Now I'm just like, whatever. I just couldn't care less about anybody, like their emotions or feelings, because that's their shit.
Yeah.
Like if I say something that pisses somebody off, I'm like, hey, man, you kind of got to learn how to deal with that,
That's
bro.
your fault.
Yeah, that's not my problem. That's not my problem.
So what? I called you a bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I definitely don't do that. I'm one that will walk 10,000 miles around trouble, for sure.
My peace is
It's
worth
best to
more
stay out of it.
than anything.
Yeah.
But no, like when it comes to like,
I thought you were holding on to when you said my piece. I thought he was like,
no,
holding his gun.
I would never do that.
Let's talk about that.
He would.
I would not
My
do
piece?
that. I would not do that in someone's home.
Yeah.
But no, like the
He
rest.
scared the fuck out of a couple of my guests.
Yeah, whoops.
I feel
Sorry.
safe. I feel
Sorry,
safe.
Elliot.
Willy nilly.
Yeah.
I'm the producer here, man. I'm responsible
but
for your safety.
He's
All
very
right.
he's very respectful, and he'll like if he's gonna like if somebody sees it, he'll make sure they see it. And he's
Oh, yeah.
like, hey, this is here. We're safe. This is for our safety, and
Yeah.
then he'll put it down. but-
You're not gonna bother me by having it on your hip.
But I'm not going around Walmart
Also, that shit
going,
don't bother
hey, you're safe.
Right?
Yeah,
No. He was very respectful with
Oh,
it. But
yeah.
that person, when you sit down in a strange place and
I can
somebody pulls out
understand.
a gat,
I
you
just
know,
don't tell people now.
Yeah,
Just easier.
Just keep it tucked.
No one's
But
ever
thanks,
gonna know.
Thanks for exposing me, Jim. Sorry about it.
Hey, stay strapped, get clapped, man.
That's right.
But you better fucking respect if you come walking up on me at Walmart.
That's right, bitch.
But yeah, man, like the whole podcast thing, it's just I really don't know where all we're gonna go. Like I said,
You kind of answered the question I wanted to kind of get to was like the monetization and are you wanting this to be a full-time career?
I would love it to be a full-time career. It's just more I'm just taking it one step at a time. If people are
Right.
interested enough where they want to come in and partner, that's great. I'm not changing anything about my show though. That is like my hard line. I refuse to change or, not talk about what I want to talk about or who I want to talk with and everything. Because the nice thing is everybody we talk down or not talk down, but talk to is people we're interested in.
Right.
We make our list of people who want to come out and come sit on the podcast and
Yeah.
everything. And I love that side of things. And I find it interesting to sit down with people.
Do you have like a whiteboard or like a notepad where you write down guests like that you want and like a wish list?
So I'm very much a person, if I see someone, like a lot of my guests, I look on Instagram and see kind of what's going on around Jacksonville. And, you know, whether it's like an artist or like comedians, or we also do like podcast networking groups where we go and meet with people like we were talking about on the podcast.
With Botter.
Yeah, Botter. Shout out to
JPU.
Yep, shout out to JPU. But
Jack's Podcasters Unite. What's up?
They're solid, man. They're good people out there, and a lot of them have came and sat down on the podcast and, you know, really taking the time with me because I'm asking questions and getting in there. But yeah, man, I just want to grow the brand and trying to get it out there a little bit more. We're actually about to get our like LLC.
Oh,
so
wow.
we're gonna start doing the LLC, looking into merchandise and everything as well. It's just
so you've got your Who Are You hat on.
Yeah, man. I've had it for a little while now. I just only have the one, but I want to start working with some manufacturers to get hats out, because what I would like to do is after I do an interview, give like a good bag, like, you know, a hat, shirt, you know, keychain, all that kind of stuff, just to make people remember, like, hey, I had a good time.
That's what I was doing with I had one run of T-shirts, and I'll get you guys one before you leave, because I forgot to bring them last time when I went to your place. But you know, I just had one, just a test run, you know, and I liked them, and I make it a habit that if I'm gonna get anything done like that, then I'm gonna go local.
Yeah.
And so I have a friend, someone I used to work with, and now she's like an at-home mom, and she does it's CD's Crafty Creations. So shout out CD's Crafty Creations.
Shout out.
And
I thought he was getting naked over here. I saw him starting to strip a little bit.
He might be, but yeah, he. You got your shirt
I'm
on
wearing
tonight?
I'm wearing my graybeard apparel.
Okay.
Wearing my graybeard apparel on my jacket, man.
But yeah, so I hit her up and I was like, "Can you do this?" And she said, "Oh yeah," and it was cost effective. It wasn't like super expensive, and you know, the next run I'm gonna do a little bit more, and then I'm gonna start doing hoodies and maybe hats and stuff like that.
Definitely give me your information. I'm more than happy. I'd much rather spend money with people here in Jacksonville than, you know, some big conglomeration that has millions of dollars already. You know, support local, and to be honest, you can probably get more of a personal touch with working people here locally. You don't have to email them and wait 4 days for a response or whatever 100%. It is.
And they'll work like she will work her ass off. Like she was contacting me back. Is this okay if I do this with the logo? If I do this, do you want this and do you want that? You know, and she was very responsive. And I think that it's great, like to your point about like the donations, like working with people that are local, you know, the money that you spend is going directly to them.
Yep.
There's no middleman. There's no bullshit. There's no rigmarole.
It's going into their kids' mouths or back to their business.
Right.
You know
so that's the thing I love.
Oh, yeah.
Know? And I'll for always and forever shout out people and, you know, help like yourself.
Thank you.
You know, and I'm like, no, that's what you do. I mean, you boost people up. You get people on so they can get their story out.
Yeah, man.
And it really does. I think it does help people in the long run, you know, gain like notoriety.
Yeah.
Like people start to say, oh, I didn't know this person existed, you know, and that's my thing, you know, with creatives, you know, and it's not just creatives. It's, you know, I'll have business people, you know, business owners, whatever. I mean, there's no telling. I've got so many people in the pipeline right now. Like, you know, February is already starting to be stacked up. So it's just like, it's nice. I haven't, you know, knock on wood, and I'm not real superstitious, but I don't really, you know, I've not had a problem finding guests.
It's nice, isn't it?
And when I do, me and him just sit down and we bullshit.
I think that just goes to prove that this format of media is just highly sought after.
Oh, dude.
You know what I mean?
It totally is.
It's the real, you know, it's like you get to really know people in 2.5 to 3 hours or whatever it is that you sit down, or an hour and a half. It's better than that. It's like
because we might all be so connected with our phones, but at the same time, we're so fucking disconnected. You know, you know, whether it be having these vital conversations that need to be had.
100%.
Well, like one of my favorite things about the podcast game is, like, for example, you had Time and Place on after I had him on, and I love to see that. I love that if I can, you know, be that platform to bring someone up and get their more eyeballs on them. That's all I get asked to do. You know, like I don't charge anybody a single dollar to be on the podcast or anything like that. It's all about just give me your time, man, and you know, have a real conversation.
Has anybody ever asked you, how much is it going to cost me to be on your podcast?
Multiple times. And I like I said,
weird. It's like, what?
Yeah.
No.
You'd be surprised, man. I know a couple podcasts that do that, not hating on them in any way, shape, or form. It's just not my style personally, because we're doing a transaction, really. You know, like we're having a conversation, you're promoting your business, and you're giving me your time to sit down and have a real conversation kind of thing. And that's really all I try to get out of it, as well as, like, you know, become friends, you know, keep up with each other, like each other's stuff on Instagram, because it's so hard nowadays with just getting a like, a comment, or whatever it is, sharing people's stuff. stuff. You know, it takes 2 seconds to repost someone's, post, or they just did a reel, and like I'm sure as you know, it takes time to do all that stuff, man.
does.
Like I sit there and edit little videos for every single day. Every
no,
single
I know
day.
you do, and I'm like, God, it make me feel lazy, dude. I literally will I'm like one clip Jim. I'll try to take like little snippets from the whole thing and then just squeeze them into like a 1 minute like clip.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, it's out.
There it
I'm
is.
done.
Well, speaking of clips that I saw that you came out recently that I really enjoyed was the one, what's the young lady that you do the podcast with?
Jennifer
Janelle.
Yeah, I saw you guys had your little photo shoot together and everything, and I've seen
yeah.
her around a couple times on Instagram and everything. She does good work, and she's a model, correct?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, let's say shout out. That's
She's
awesome.
a model, a bartender. I mean, she's got a lot of hats that she
Nice.
wears too. So,
Good for her, man. I love to see like just people getting into the game of podcasting.
For sure.
Because whenever I first started, I thought like you see Rogan making $100 million off the podcast or
Yeah.
other people and everything, but
It's not feasible for
No.
people that aren't already famous to
Exactly.
blow up overnight.
yeah, but it just takes time, man, and that's my main thing is like we've been doing this for 2 years, haven't made a single cent off of it, but I've enjoyed every minute of it because me and Shannon get to do something together where we're both working towards a common goal,
Right.
and we're putting people out there, man. A lot of people didn't know about Jacksonville for the longest time until now, where everybody's moving here and everything, but.
Right.
Just the amount of businesses that are mom and pop shops here that need that recommendation, or
100%.
like what we're doing on Friday. Actually, we're going to. Do you remember the name of the barbershop?
Prestige.
Prestige Barbershop.
Worldwide.
I immediately went into my head.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But we're doing a cool interview with them on Friday,
Mm.
and what we're gonna do is actually they're gonna be cutting my hair while we're doing the interview.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing that, and it's just cool that you can be creative with this in any way, shape, or form. There is no
100%.
right way
It's
or
your
wrong
show.
way. Yeah, and that's the thing I love about it because you have a different style than I do, and everybody else has their own little touch that they put onto it, and I love seeing people get creative.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's fucking. I'm gonna be looking for that one for sure. I wanted to ask you. I know, like we talked a little bit on when I came over to your place,
Yeah.
like how you like bank,
Oh, yeah.
your podcast. Because I was like, I'm so used to mine, and the shit's out already, And I was like, when is he gonna put? Is he gonna, like? That's why I was like, is it fucking suck? Like,
No.
But you do it smart, and you actually do it. When I was actually having clients, like podcast clients, and they would come in and use my equipment in my space.
Okay.
I used to have a space, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
And we had people coming in and doing their podcast in our space. I would give them advice. I would teach them about podcasting. And one of the first things I would tell them is you need to bank at least 5 to 10. I would tell them from 5 to 10 episodes. And that, and that way, if you do 10 and then you upload 5, you give people something to watch
Exactly.
or listen to. And then if you get sick or you miss a week, you just upload one of the other ones.
Well, see, like you brought that up, but like that's not how I started off doing it. Like literally, I got my podcast equipment, and I was like, "Shan, let's sit down and do a podcast," and that was our first one.
Right.
And then I just reached out to people, and luckily, we've only missed 1 week in 2 years of putting out an episode.
Right.
So we're at 96, so going on 97 episodes, and only
Right.
missing 1 week, and that was just for the wedding.
Right.
So I'm just very much.
But you still have material to put up.
Yeah,
that you can put up.
It's been the nice thing about doing this now for a couple of years is people are actually reaching out to me now, which is cool. I love when people reach out, and I never leave someone on red. I either tell them like, hey, yeah, that'll work great, or I'm not really looking for this kind of interview kind of thing, and just kind of go from there. Maybe in the future,
Right.
It just really depends on the situation. But no, we've been very lucky, and I'm very thankful for everybody that's reached out or who just given me their time.
Right.
Even when I first started out, I wasn't anybody. No one
Yeah.
gave a shit about who I was or what kind of thing I was trying to do and everything. And it's cool to get out there and people are like, hey, I've seen your stuff. I'm like, hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Have you been recognized in public yet?
No, I have not. But going around and like going to this inner circles like the podcasting game and stuff,
Yeah.
people are like, I've seen your stuff. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm not just spitting out into the void, I guess.
Good.
I mean, that's how you reached out to me. You
Right.
said you saw my logo, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I saw. Well, I saw your podcast page on Instagram. I'm on Instagram more than anything.
Same here.
And I've got the 2 pages that I run on there for the podcast and my photography stuff. And I had a young man on here. He's been on here what twice or 3 times?
Who is it?
Chris.
Yeah, 2 times I think.
Yeah, 2X.
Yeah, 2X.
I can't remember, but at any rate, he had brought some time, place,
Oh,
like,
nice.
sunglasses. So I was like, that guy's local, and I was like, dude. So I started asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
and then you post. I followed them, and then when you tagged them, I saw your podcast with them, and I was like, okay. So that's when I reached out, and then I
Nice.
started following you and all that good stuff. But I mean, that was the progression there. But
It's like you always make your way into the same circle.
Yeah.
Or a circle where you need to meet someone else.
I think so, and I think I feel I'm much happier being around people that like are into the same shit that I'm into.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I want to get you guys to come out. There's an event coming up at the CoLab.
Oh yeah.
They're doing it Matrix style. It's like a theme. They've been doing these themed event nights, and it is a networking event.
Yeah.
So if you guys do go to that one or any of their networking events, you know, and I'm not a shill for CoLab. I love those guys. They're my boys. And it's
Let me be the judge of that. No, I'm just
Hey,
kidding.
fuck you, man.
No, I'm always down. Like I said, it's
So.
anytime there's a new opportunity for me to go shake hands, and
Yeah.
even if they don't want to be on the podcast or anything
Yeah.
like that, I love just being a help. You know, just
For
going
sure.
out there and meeting new people and making acquaintances or friends or anything, and just
Yeah.
being a part of my community in general.
And that community, you know, there's a large, you know, photography community there, and they're all going to know you now because they do support me very well. And you know, but so it might be something you walk in there and they'll be like, hey, that's the Who Are You podcast guy. And they are all very interested in podcasting and being on and getting their message out. So I mean, it might be a place for you to go and find some cool guests.
Definitely let me know, man. Like I said, I'm always down. I say and it gives me a chance to do at night. You know,
Right.
I love getting out of the house and going and doing stuff. But the podcast medium is just something that's really changed my life personally. You know, like listening to different people's stories gave me confidence to go out there and talk about my stuff. Like we were
Yeah.
talking about the depression side of things, and you know, I was not very vocal about it growing up because I didn't know exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And listening to other people, these guys who are multimillionaires, and sitting there saying like, "Hey, I deal with depression. Some days I get sad, you know, or you know, I fucked up this part of my life,
Right.
and now I'm here. I worked on it, kind of thing." And it's great. You know, it's a really interesting medium to really hear how people are. And you know, I've had people on the podcast who've been to prison or gone and had other situations in their lives, and it's cool to hear how they kind of wiggled their way out of it or made their where they are today, because
Right.
it's crazy how life is. It's not a straight line. It's very up and down.
100%, man.
Have you ever listened to Soft White Underbelly?
I know
watched it
I
on
know what that
YouTube.
is.
Yeah.
Soft white underbelly.
man.
Oh, that's the dude that does the interviews with people who've had like drug problems and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people that like live under tunnels or they like live in the
Skid
West
Row.
Virginia or Skid Row. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Now
man.
I love that stuff, man. Like I'm very much into like I don't get uncomfortable when it comes to like the nitty gritty stuff. You know, I've been through stuff. I've seen horrible things and everything as well, just like I'm sure everybody has. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to get into that part of the person and hear, you know, what gave them the strength to keep on going, or like why didn't you just give up right there? And
Right.
and I feel like that's the main part that I feel like a lot of people are scared to talk about. And I hope that this gives people confidence to go talk about their problems, not sitting here saying like it's gonna be that's like your personality
Right.
type, but getting those problems out there, man. Like we've all been through some stuff, and it's better to get it out in the world, talk about it. Might not fix it, but at least you can get that out there and try to, you know,
Well, like
cope.
you said, when you saw these multi-millionaire, billion-dollar people up there talking about their problems and whatnot, and it gave you the courage to talk about your your life
Mm-hmm.
and where you came from. A lot of times, there's questions in the room that just don't get asked.
Mhm.
And there's people that need help and they don't know how to get that help. And, whatever it may be, and so sometimes when you interview people or when you have, when you sit out here and you put yourself out there like that, it gives people license to talk about their feelings and talk about things. And they might learn something like about themselves through listening to you, and they resonate with it. And they were like, oh shit, I didn't know this about myself.
Yeah, like a newfound perspective.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
I've had that listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
yeah,
listening
man.
to them.
Yeah.
Hey.
No one will ever have that listening to this podcast, but
Well, the other way I look at it as well is just, if say something happens to me and I'm not here anymore kind of thing, and me and Shannon have kids, they can listen to that and be like, this is what my dad was
Yeah.
thinking about when he was 21, 22, 23.
Yeah.
And kind of, not like a blueprint, but just to let them know that they're not the only ones. Because I feel like a lot of people who are going through certain situations feel like they're alone. And that's my main thing to say is like, you're not alone kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I want to get that message out there. And that's something very passionate I am about.
I have that same feeling, and I don't know if you've ever watched any of the Coffee with Jims that I do on Sunday, but like I I started this thing where I just sit in front of, I wake up, I get my ass out here, and I just film myself talking about random shit.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I talked about. I was like, I do this for myself, but I do also do it so if anything ever happens to me, or, you know, God forbid, you know, grandchildren, great grandchildren, they have a point of reference. They know who I am, you know, and
it's a time capsule.
It really is. I mean, I still, my phone's over there, I'd show you, but I still do daily, you know, like when I'm driving into work, I turn on my voice recorder on my phone and I just hold it to my mouth and I just do like a daily thought.
Yeah.
And it's like my journaling, you know, and sometimes I've done little, like I'll just say things to my children and to my grandchild, you know, and stuff like that, so that if anything does and they go back and listen, there'll be like a little Easter egg in there that they can find. And, you know, and it is, man, it's very, it helps with the mental, you know, game, because we don't always have people to talk to.
Of course.
And if we do, we don't often do it. But what's crazy is people like us that get on these podcasts will do it. We won't do it with anyone else, but we'll sit in front of a live audience and we will record it and put it out for everyone to hear forever. You know, so that's a weird thing when you really break it down. You're like, so you won't talk to people in front of you, but you'll sit down and record yourself talking about the same shit. What?
It's where you feel most comfortable, man. At the end of the day, that's what you kind of need to have those kinds of conversations, is somewhere where you feel comfortable. And I've had a lot of people at the end of podcasts be like, I really opened up about this and I wasn't expecting this to happen.
I was one of them.
And that's my favorite thing. Like, I hope I can be comforting to someone, and, you know, like, I may not be able to fix your issue, but at least I can be an ear to hear, or, you know, if you're going through something, I'm always there for the people who are, you know, around me, kind of thing. I just,
Todd B hopped in and said, we see you.
Todd B.
That's my stepfather. Shout out Todd.
Shout out Todd.
Shout out Todd.
Shout out Todd. But yeah, man, it's just trying to make my mark on the world. Not sitting here saying I'm going to fix anything, but just put something out there. I hope it's entertaining, and I hope people can find something out of it, whether it's learning how to work with their business, or go talk to your mom who you had an issue with 10 years ago, or, you know, anything, you know, anything we
whatever
can.
it takes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job, and you got a good one.
Thank you. I know.
And you got a good one, too.
I do.
Because she puts up with your shit.
I'm very lucky, man. Like I said, it was a very long time before I could say I was actually happy. And it's a great feeling to sit down and look at everything I have compared to what I had, and, you know, be grateful for everything.
Good, man. I really wish you guys all the best with your, you know, your apartment situation, your house, your podcast, whatever, your relationship. You know, Are we looking for the
couple years
pitter patter? Okay, you didn't want me to even say it. I was like, don't fucking jinx me.
I knew exactly where you were headed.
You knew where I was going.
Yes.
I was just gonna say the pitter patter little feet.
It means it's on her mind.
Well, one thing Connor and I, whenever we first started dating, it is something we talked about early on, because he's like, dating is supposed to lead somewhere. You're not just supposed to date and then move on. So we had talked about, you know, what we want our future to look like, you know, kind of like a timeline of how we would like things to happen. So far, we're on track with that timeline.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so maybe in a couple of years is.
Well, I think that's good. I think that it's good for young people. I'll call you guys young people because I'm an old fuck. But, you know, it's good that you mapped out your life, and it's good to kind of get yourself like situated, you know, like get your career right, and then go, okay, I think we're good and we're ready.
Fiscally responsible.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
I'm so fucking excited to be a dad, man. I can't wait, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I like the kids are just
buy him a puppy.
we have
a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's not something I push towards now, because we're nowhere near ready, and obviously you're never ready until it happens, kind of thing.
Yep.
But just want to get to the point where, you know, we have a place. I want to be able to give them what I feel they deserve, kind of thing. You know, a backyard to play in. You know, the white picket fence kind of thing.
Much like Jurassic Park, life happens.
It does. It does. But I'm just, that's something I've always wanted to be, as a dad, and pass on, you know, what I've learned. And obviously I won't be a perfect parent. There's no such thing as a perfect parent, but go out there.
The harder you try, the worse it gets.
Yeah, man. Just go install the good things I hope that, like, my parents instilled in me, and keep on going with it, man.
The only advice I would give to young parents is love. Just as much fucking love as you can shell out, give it to them, and listen, and be there, and just be there, show up. That's the biggest thing. And, when you try to hover or micromanage shit, they're going to figure shit out. They're going to touch the stove, man. They're going to burn themselves. They're going to but they'll figure it out. I'm not doing that again, but just be there, don't freak out when they fall down.
Yep.
That kind of shit, but
like, get up. You're fine.
Yeah, you have to, because the moment you do, then they do. And then it's a problem from then on that's imprinted in their mind.
Oh, yeah, man. I just feel like it'll be such a cool experience to go with Shannon. I know she'll be an amazing mother, and, I'm going to try my best to be, better than what my parents were, and I'm not talking down about them or anything, but your goal is to be better than what your parents were. And whether it's in your job or being a parent in general, I just want to go out there and, make good people and leave, like I said, leaving another mark on this earth, know, because you can't take them with you whenever you go, kind of thing. So,
well, we're talking about new mothers. Hey, shout out to our friends.
Fucking shouts out.
And they just had a baby boy.
Hannah and Chase.
I wasn't going to say their names, but,
No, we're going to shout
Hannah
them
and
out.
Chase.
Hannah and Chase.
Shout out to Hannah and Chase.
Today, they just spat a baby out today. So.
Today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Today. Oh.
Very fresh.
Sometime this morning or afternoon.
I think it's afternoon.
Hey, good for them, man.
Congrats.
That is one thing I'm happy. I am a man. I don't have to push anything out of my body that's a human being.
Imagine if you did, though.
No, I couldn't.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, I had this conversation with somebody before. But,
women are strong, man. I'll give them that any day of the week.
Yeah.
Us men, we have a hard time shoving a poop out of us.
Yeah.
Dude,
Without
I said this the other day, is that if I had to do that, if I had to be pregnant, or if I was a woman and I had to give a birth, it would be a C-section, because you're not messing up my...
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You're not gonna... I want my hoo-ha to be right. You know what I mean? You're not messing that up.
Hey, bro, they can sew you back up and make it tighter.
I know. And that's just the stupid maleness in me. I know that, like, what's really cool is that thing is so resilient and it will bounce back. Bro.
That's a true.
But
wow.
you also have to think about women. Like, in my mind, a C-section is going to leave a scar.
Yeah,
like, if
I'm
wearing a bikini or something.
Yeah.
That's what more women's side think about, at least
for sure.
me.
But isn't that crazy as hell? They can literally cut you open and pull a human being out of you and just sew you back up and all right, you're good. Have a good day.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
Yeah, and you're out of there in like 3 days. You're like, hey, get the fuck out.
Right.
So
good luck.
I have a dad question for you. Whenever you had your first child, whether it was biological or the stepdaughter, what was that feeling like when they said goodbye out of the hospital? Have a good day.
To be honest, I didn't even think about it. I felt like I was having an out of body experience from the moment, the only birth I was there for was my youngest, obviously, but the moment I saw her little head crowning, I was like, and then she came out. I mean, the whole thing fucked my head up.
I'm sure it did.
Because she came out and she was like face down. The dude sticks his whole hand in there, and both of them, and he just goes and flips her over. They start sucking stuff out of the and then he just, one more push, mommy, and she, boom, it shot that baby out, and she was purple. Yeah. And it's just like, and then he like clipped off everything, and he was like, hand me the scissors, and I was like, I was literally about to pass out. But I mean,
that is crazy to see, man.
Common.
It looks like an alien coming out.
Oh,
man.
dude, so alien. But I mean, it literally changed every molecule and fiber in my being. I already changed once. For my oldest, that right there changed who I was as a person more than I could ever say. We talked about this on your podcast. So if you're interested, it's coming out in a couple weeks.
Next week, actually.
Next week. Make sure you go check out the Who Are You Pod.
Thank you.
On Instagram, and they're on any audio podcast page.
Every platform.
But but it blew my mind. But like watching a child come into this world, knowing that you shot that up in there, that you made that, and it's weird. I don't know. It's just a weird, but I went into this ultra, almost like a survivalist mode, there's that one guy that if shit goes down, he's going to be all right. Yeah. I've got all the guns, come to me. I've got MREs for years,
One of my lawyers.
I was that guy, but I was taking care of everything. I was like, okay, get all of her bags. We get everything. I've got the baby things and the stuff, and I'm going to load the car and pull it up. I'm going to be right there. And like the guy was like, you got to move, man. You can't, fuck you, man. I got a baby come out. Like it was like all of that.
Yeah.
And I just got hardcore about it.
The
but
switch was flipped.
the switch was definitely flipped.
I just find it's just such a cool thing, man. Like bringing in a human being to this earth. That's literally like, if there is such thing as a miracle, that really is a miracle.
Oh,
man.
totally.
It's just so many things can go wrong or things like don't work and everything. And it's just crazy that you can create a human person and they grow up and become a person.
Watching children that are young children, like watch you, and you realize that they are watching you.
Mm-hmm.
You're always on stage. The spotlight is always on you because you are their world. They don't know anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that if you had any shithead tendencies, not everybody realizes this.
Yes.
Some people never fucking get it.
And just keep
those
on doing
people
what they're
shouldn't
doing.
have children,
Yes.
in my opinion. But if you're a good person, or someone that has a conscience, but you realize I can't be a shithead anymore. I have to set a good example for this young developing mind. And that's and when you realize that, and that was what I kind of, that's my children, both of their life. God, I can't even fucking speak right now. But as they grew up,
I got him in his feels, y'all.
but yeah, well, I'm thinking back, and it's just like that was my whole mindset their entire life.
Yeah.
Even now, but they both have a great head on their shoulder. I instilled, I hope, like a good, strong work ethic. They watched me. I busted my ass to make sure that everything was good. I busted my ass around the house, busted my ass at work. I try to just, show them instead of telling them.
Yeah.
Children don't want to listen.
No.
But if you show them the right way, and that this is this is how I do it. You can do whatever you want, but this is how I do it. They're gonna kind of learn from that, and they're gonna hopefully take it. And that way, whenever they get ready to go out into the world, they're a little bit more like ready.
Oh yeah, man. And
They have the tools.
Because school
they
does not
need.
teach you that.
They don't.
No.
They don't hardly teach you much of anything. What the fuck do they teach you now in schools?
You want to talk about the
Algebra,
teachers' unions?
calculus, and a
bullshit.
bunch of math you don't need.
They don't
Right.
teach you how to do your taxes. They don't teach you how to buy a house, buy a car, anything like that, man.
What do you think would fix all that? Do you think giving teachers more money, or putting more money into the
Regime change.
So I feel like teachers should be paid more.
So, like, college professors, they make decent money, you know, and they get tenured and everything like
Yeah.
that. Now, like,
But
elementary
the developmental school years,
middle
that's
school,
elementary school on up to high school.
I agree with that one because, they're dealing with shitheads.
Yeah.
To be 100% honest with you. You're basically
the worst years.
your daycare.
Yeah.
That's what you are for pretty much for that whole day. And to make a kid listen, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure nowadays, especially with phones and everything.
It's fucking impossible.
Yeah, like me and Shan's generation coming up, we were probably I remember when the iPhone came out. And, I was like 9, 10 years old kind of thing. And so, like, social media wasn't a thing and all the other distractions that are out in the world now. And, like, kids now are hitting vapes at, like, 8, 9, 10 years old and smoking weed and doing other things, like, right now that's, like, way too early
Yeah.
currently.
Watching fucking porn at 9,
Yeah.
10,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
I mean, I can't really say that.
It's like everything's just at the fingertips. It's like if they go ask their parents, "Hey, what does this mean?" They're like, "Oh, we'll tell you in a couple years or something." They're just, "I'll just Google it."
Right.
Yeah, and it's just
Well, and it kind of like polishes your view on everything. You know what I mean? Like I already know the answer. I already know.
Well,
So you can't tell me nothing.
This is why I say, like, teachers should be paid more. It's a saint's job.
it is 100%.
They deal with some shithead kids all day, and but the problem therein lies, how do we do that? Because if we just put more money into the school system, it's never going to make it to them.
Mhm.
The principals and everybody that's
superintendent.
yeah, they're all
everything.
they're going to line their pockets, and it's never going to get it to the teachers. But I would love to see that. I would love to see the schools change the way that they teach, like get them out of those fucking rows,
Mhm.
like adopt more like
Holistic
the
approach.
European like style of teaching. you
Well,
know?
and teachers shouldn't have 50 students in one class. It's
Absolutely
way
not.
too much to handle. And dude, I've seen videos where like teachers are getting punched by students and all this
Yeah.
other stuff. It's crazy what the world's going on. But at the end of the day, like I do agree, like, those, whether it's like elementary school to high school, yeah, 100% they need to get paid more money.
Yeah.
But also, that comes with training as well.
Yes.
Training your teachers, because I had terrible teachers at high school. In high school, like guys that would give you a worksheet and say, "Go have fun."
Right.
Kind of thing. My school was surrounded by barbed wire.
Well,
if that gives you any kind of idea. My high school was Sandalwood High School, surrounded by barbed wire. I was reading out books.
My 7th grade was, Wolfson. Or no, not Wolfson. Fucking, what the hell was that? I can't remember.
The schools have changed so many names
downtown.
nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Matthew Gilbert.
Oh yeah. I say
It was a magnet school, and they shipped me from Mandarin all the way to like fucking downtown.
Yeah. I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. That's
Go
cool.
for it.
You guys keep on going.
go
I'll be
for
right
it.
back.
Yeah.
Back to teaching though, like I feel like as you get older, like into high school, like obviously the elementary school, you still need to learn how to spell, English, all that stuff, like basic math, all that. But as you get like sophomore, junior year, that's when the classes as far as taxes or how to, buy a car and all that should be
come into
incorporated
play,
rather than calculus.
Well, we've got home ec and like
I loved home ec.
all that kind of shit. It's like, okay, you can teach me how to make spaghetti, but you can't teach me how to balance a checkbook.
Right.
Kids, there used to be this thing called a checkbook. Nobody knows what that is
No
anymore.
one knows. I had a client come in the other day and they just had a huge checkbook. I was like, I have never seen so many checks in one spot.
Yeah.
It's like, I think whenever I opened my bank account, I got like 4 checks and I didn't even use them all.
Yeah, we used to, that was the thing. You get a checkbook in the mail after you open a bank account. And I just remember my mom, we would go to the grocery store and they would ring all of our shit up and she would, that little thing where the card swiper's on now, that was the check. That was where you put your check book and you would write out your check on that thing.
Yeah.
And, and it would take so long to get through a line because everybody wrote checks. But she would sit there and write the check, and then she would go into her balance, her register, her check register.
You got to make sure you note it.
Yeah, and she would note it and then subtract it from the total amount, and that's how we knew how much was in the bank. We couldn't just open the phone. But back to the schools again. Like I feel like the European style. There was a video that I watched. I don't know if it was a documentary or something, but they were asking, and I can't remember what school or where it was at. But they were asking these kids or these teachers. They were like, about schools in America, and then they would talk to the kids and the teachers separately, and they would basically tell them how schools worked in America, and then they would go, "Oh my God, no,
Yeah.
why?" Like they couldn't believe that people would move to a specific location in a town because that school was better. They're like, all of our schools are the same.
Yeah, they have the same curriculum. They all teach what needs to be taught,
Right.
rather than, this one's in a more fortunate part of town, so let's teach them better things.
Right. Yeah, that when they were like the concept of like A schools and shit like was beyond. They're like all like there's a standard for the teachers there, and all those teachers, if they don't meet that standard, then they don't work. Well,
here's my thing about the education system here in America is that times have changed. The way that we do things have changed, right? Whether it be actually doing more taxes and how to pay insurance and how to do a loan and how to balance this and that. But the curriculum that they teach has not changed.
Right.
The algebra, the bullshit algebra, the bullshit history lessons.
Well, they tried
the
with that
bullshit
Common
reading
Core
lessons.
math, right? They tried for a little while.
They didn't try shit.
I think they got rid of that quick.
Oh yeah.
You think I knew how to do taxes when I was 18 years old? What the fuck?
Nope.
My parents, when I was in the military, my parents moved to the other side of the country. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
It would have been very nice to know that the year before, though, when I was in an education system that was given by the same government that I'm paying my fucking taxes to. Yeah. So that's just my bugaboo with it.
Yeah.
I still call my mom every so often if like I'm doing my taxes. What does this mean?
I ask my parents questions all the time.
See, I just do it all online, man. And
Yes.
everything, it tells you how to do everything.
TurboTax.
Ew.
I use Tax Act.
Oh.
Not sponsored, but yeah, it's the same shit.
If you do want to sponsor, though, I'm sure he'd be more than willing.
Nope.
Nope.
No, I wouldn't be beholden to them. Much like you, I wouldn't. I would prefer to have small businesses, like
Of
local
course.
businesses, sponsor and literally just sponsor like episodes. You don't
Yeah.
even got to sponsor the whole podcast.
That's cool. I like that idea.
Just do whatever it is. If you want to, I'll do a little spot, a 1 minute spot for you. In the beginning and at the end. I'm not
Yeah.
doing shit in the middle, at all. But because I feel like when you break up a podcast with stuff like ads in the middle, I think it just throws people. I get pissed off.
I can understand that. I did have a question for you about your podcast.
Sure.
We've talked about mine a couple times, but do you have a favorite episode that you've done so far?
That's tough, man. I love all my guests. I love everybody. All of them were my favorite. I mean, out of all the podcasts that I've ever done in my life, I mean, it's tough, man. I miss doing the podcast with my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of fun doing that. I kind of pushed being on camera with her and doing it this way. She doesn't want to be on film.
Gotcha.
She liked doing the podcast. It was fun, but it was just audio.
Mm-hmm.
But I miss doing that. But no, I'm loving this all together. I mean, I can't say, I love everybody, I love all my guests.
Yeah.
I feel like I've developed some great friends, and when I reference back to people, I'm like, I'll say my friend Connor, or whatever, I mean, so it's like, that's what's the best part of it for me, is that I've developed real relationships with these people.
Yeah.
And I know I can't pick my favorite podcast.
I totally understand. And I did have a hardball for you guys as well, since a
shoot
hardball
it,
was tossed
man.
to me.
All right.
So we were talking about it a little bit earlier before the podcast started. So we were talking about water and everything, right? You know what I mean? So this was a very big point of contention on my podcast, and people think I'm wild for it.
What, lighting water on fire?
No, this isn't what part of Ohio is that?
Yeah, no fracking here.
Yeah.
Is this a is water wet thing?
No. I am of the mindset where it doesn't matter what brand of water. I think it all tastes the same.
He's a psycho.
So you've obviously never had Dasani.
I drink all of it.
Everyone brings up.
I drink all of it.
So I will say this.
What?
I don't think he's a psycho. I think that when you work outside in the heat, water tastes good no matter what.
Well, it's not just that. At home, if he's not been working that day, he'll go get tap water. There's
nothing crazy with that.
I drank out of a hose growing up, y'all.
Yeah, same.
Well, there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with it, but different types of water have different tastes.
You see the contention right here?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, like I've got two faucets in my sink. One is just regular tap water, and then the other one is filtered.
Ooh.
Exactly.
So if I got you a glass of each, you will notice a difference.
He won't.
You can ask people. We go to restaurants all the time, and she says the water doesn't taste good. I'm like, it tastes normal.
One's gonna taste like it's gonna take you back to being a kid, and you're like, this tastes like hose water.
Mm-hmm.
The other one will just taste like nothing. It'll just taste wet, like water. That's.
I went to Waffle House one time and drank their water, and it tasted like soap.
It tastes
I don't know if there was soap in it, but it looked clear. I set that shit back and walked out.
There's
No, that was
multiple
ridiculous.
places where I've ordered water and I take one sip of it and I'm literally want to throw up. It's that gross. And he's
Now-
like, it's fine.
Now I will say that I will never turn my nose up to any water if I'm thirsty, because that's all I drink. I mean, if it I've like hard water, people that have like well water, it tastes like eggs, or farts, and I'll drink it. I don't give a fuck. If I'm thirsty, I'll drink it. I don't care if my insides are gonna get rusty.
Yeah, if you're thirsty enough, you'll drink it, but it still tastes different.
Yeah,
That's the main point.
That's
Taste.
fine. You have your opinion. I have mine.
it's okay. I mean,
That was a big one. Like I posted that on Instagram, and everybody was like, "What?"
So he clearly agrees water has a taste.
Oh yeah.
You are kind of.
I'm in between. There are different.
If it's got a chemical taste to it, for me, like a soap or a chlorine, nah. But if it's got the well water, like egg smell, I don't give a shit about that. I know that's good water. I know it's been filtered.
they do have different flavors.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe your taste buds just need to be scraped, bro.
I don't know, man.
Right.
I think you need to go to the desert for a year.
You listen. You're due for another growth spurt. Okay,
I
and when you
hope
do, your
not.
taste buds will change. I know, God. I hope.
If
not.
I grew again, I would.
Have you had your pituitary gland checked?
Yes, they may try to have gigantism. My mom is.
For real?
Oh yeah, I've been checked.
Oh wow.
That's crazy. I was just fucking around.
Oh okay.
Well, you gotta think so. Like with me going out of middle school to high school, I grew like 6 inches over one summer. So I went from like 5'10", 5'11" to like 6'3", 6'4".
Jesus.
Yeah, so I just got really big, and I've always been kind of tall and lanky, dude.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of just how
You
it
have
was.
tall people in your family, or
My mom is like 5'9" ish,
Okay.
5'10". What would you say? Something like that, right?
I think she said she's like 5'9".
maybe
Okay.
something like that. And then my dad's like 6'3", 6'2".
There
So
it is.
And your pappy was real tall.
yeah, I would say Pappy Whitfield was tall.
Pappy.
I've had a bunch of tall like family members. It's just I guess we're just of that clan.
Yeah.
So I guess there's really just no chance of me being short. So
Yeah, I got fucked.
dude, when I tell you,
Evolutionarily. Although what they say about smoking stunting your growth, I think it's true. But I thought that when I hit my final growth spurt, I was like, I'm not getting any fucking taller. You know, I was like, because I started smoking cigarettes when I was like 12.
I started smoking like 14, 15.
Yeah, but then I look at the rest of my family, and I'm the tallest motherfucker in my family. Okay, yeah,
Her grandma is literally below 5. Like she's like
She's
4
like-
feet tall.
like we're almost into the midgets.
Yeah, it's like
you know.
she
I
hugs
think
me.
she could be considered.
Yeah.
She hugs me, and her head's on like
They
my
like
hip.
little people though, right?
I think it's 4'11". Under that, you're considered a midget.
Oh, she definitely is.
Oh, yeah,
And
then she's
and
considered,
you
yeah.
can say midget. You can most definitely say
Yeah.
midget.
Yeah.
We gotta be
Yeah,
politically
she's
correct.
so tiny, and like, I don't know if it's a common thing, but I feel like anyone with siblings, the youngest is always taller. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that.
No, not for
I don't know
me.
about that.
No.
Well,
I have a half father.
Well, I am the youngest of 3, so I am taller than everyone. All the Well, all the women, put it that way. They're all like up to here on me. I'm
Yeah.
like, I feel gigantic whenever I'm over there. I'm like, listen,
it's like I'm close with my sister, but I got her beat just a little bit.
yeah.
Oh, you should imagine my mom when she was, disciplining me in
Trying
high
to-
school and
yeah.
like looking up at me as she's
I
talking.
will fuck you
Yeah,
up.
like she's like, I'll beat your ass. I'm like,
Yeah.
No, it's just, but being tall, man, you don't want it, man. It sucks. My knees hurt, my back hurts, and
Yeah.
what I do for a job is very physical labor in
Yeah.
general. It's just, and also playing sports for years, man. Like
Right.
everything hurts.
What sports did you play?
I played basketball growing up.
Of course. What the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah, why'd you even ask?
They were like, football. No, fella. You're gonna be over here.
I did
he
play
was a
I
fucking
did play-
professional apple picker.
Yeah. I played football for a while. I used to be like 230, 240 pounds.
Okay.
So I was a little bit of a thicker dude, and I was not muscle. It was me being fat. So I did that. And then when I hit that growth spurt I told you guys about, I went down from that to like 180.
Whoa.
I lost a bunch of weight. I was also eating better and everything. So I just
Yeah.
decided to play basketball. And basketball was a huge part of my life. I learned structure. I got to work and help do like summer camps where we would take kids in, teach them
Yeah.
how to play basketball, help them with their schoolwork. I got to travel because of it. So that was a very big part of my life. I really enjoyed playing sports. It's just you couldn't really. That's one of the main places that like everything goes quiet in your head and you're just focusing on what you're doing.
Did you like sports too?
Oh yeah,
She's
I
a big
love
athlete.
What do you guys think of the Jags?
I'm a huge
I
Jags
love the
fan.
Jags.
Yeah?
I'm not
And
happy with what
not
just
the-
happened, but
Okay, I'll
yeah.
just keep my mouth shut then.
Dude, you can talk trash about
No,
the Jags. You're
I-
He
fine.
ain't
yeah.
no fucking franchise QB. I know that.
Hey, I don't know about that, bro. Did
don't know.
you? So just to get into that, they showed a replay of the whole year of the amount of balls that were dropped that should have been touchdowns,
True.
and there was like 40 of them, dude.
True.
And like obviously Lawrence does have his issues. There's some things, but he basically tore his knee.
He got banged up 4 games in a row.
Yeah, tore his
Yeah.
knee. He threw out his AC joint in his shoulder, had a concussion. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude's barely standing. He's
Yeah.
out there like running around doing this stuff. So I can't ever talk crap about those guys because, dude, can you imagine a 300-pound man who can run a 40-yard dash in less than 5 seconds chasing you? That's
No.
the scariest freaking thing.
No,
Yeah, like,
I don't want to think. Now I'm gonna have nightmares.
That's gonna be.
I'm a little guy,
continuous
okay?
Huge dude just chasing
I don't
you.
need that stress in my life. No, I've just, I think we talked about it on your show. I was like I was raised by 3 women, so there was not a lot of sports
there's nothing wrong with
going
it.
on.
I'll
Yeah.
say.
I grew up in a whole house of women, and I played sports.
Yeah, I just wasn't into it.
Yeah.
No.
It was more so a way to get anger out, or like
Yeah.
just do something.
Well, like my friends would come around and like we would play like street ball or whatever,
yeah.
park ball or whatever you call it, and I was the littlest guy, so it was just like they would always hand me the fucking ball and like get the little one, and they would dogpile on me.
Grab the midget.
Yeah, pretty much. I was tiny all the way up until still now, but I mean, I'm at least like normal size now.
It just helped keep me out of trouble, man. I was
Yeah.
just out and
That's
out
the
doing my
best
thing.
part, yeah.
Yeah, it's organized. You're around people who actually care. And do
Yeah, my
things.
mom tried to get me into sports, and it was a no-go. That's a no from me. Thanks.
I played flag football
Yeah.
my
nice.
senior year, and the very first game, a bigger girl than me tackled.
Oh shit.
It's flag football.
Yeah,
you
why
don't
are you
tackle.
tackling?
I literally did a full back somersault,
Whoa.
and yeah.
Well, this guy, he was playing flag football, and
Crack my fucking head open.
Yeah.
Oh.
damn, yeah, they.
Were you playing on concrete?
Scar right here.
I see.
Damn, dude. What
No,
happened there?
Nah, it was playing in Kuwait while I was in the Army.
I was in Kuwait.
And
Shit.
I was playing cornerback, and we were doing man-on-man coverage. And the receiver from the opposite side of the field, the wideout, he came running a cross route, and my receiver did the same thing. Well, they picked me, and I ended up running to that far receiver, and we clacked heads going full speed, both looking at the QB, and they said it sounded like two wooden baseball bats hitting each other, and he split his shit from the middle all the way out to his temple, and then I just split mine right here. I got 7, and I think he got like 12 or 13 stitches.
Damn, dude,
there was like a rough 2 months there where light sensitivity, migraine. Like I still suffer from migraines from it, but the light sensitivity was a big, like blue eyes being in the fucking sunny desert, and now I'm sitting in barracks for 2 straight months like a fucking recluse. But it was big. Like head trauma, that is some serious
CTE
shit.
And everything.
CTE, all that. So
that's when,
go see your doctors.
Can I ask you?
That's what's wrong with them today.
Can I ask you some questions about your service, if you don't mind?
Yeah, I don't mind.
So, what made you want to join the military? I'm always interested in what.
Just always had that feeling since day one. Mm-hmm. Like I knew, like my dad was in the Navy for 4 years.
Is that why you went Army?
Yeah, yeah. He told me not to go Navy anyways too. But plus, I wanted to be a soldier. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to be a sailor, and I don't know. I always had the patriot mindset. My dad did 13 years in the sheriff's department here. My mom did 14 years as head security at the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Damn.
She ran everything there. So there was many summers where I would spend a lot of my summers in security briefings with her, and she'd be openly teaching 100 people in an open room, and just I'll be in the back there taking all of this in over and over and over again. So security mindset, posture, all that stuff. That's where like those roots come from, is my parents, and defending people, especially the little man, and from the bully is what I'm into as well. So
no, man,
and I feel like more and more. Give me one sec, but I feel like more and more today have people like you, me, all of us in here have been taken advantage by bullies, and it's the ones that say they make the rules. So I don't know, man. I just don't like what we have here. Well, I love what we have here, but what this world has created, the people that have perversive views about money and power, and I think we've got to stand. I think it's almost time that we stand up to those people and tell them to go fuck themselves and start supporting local, stop paying their bullshit taxes and their tariffs and all this other stuff, and really hit them with real material losses. So that's my morals. I fucking hate bullies. I can't stand people that take advantage of other people and do it knowingly. It eats me alive.
No, I can understand that. And we appreciate your service, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for your support. Couldn't do without your taxpayer dollars.
Of course, man. But no, like the reason why I ask about that is because like it takes balls to do that, dude. Like, that's you're signing your name to the government kind of thing.
Yeah.
And obviously I know that's not where you're signing up for. You're signing up to fight with your brothers and your sisters in arms and to protect and serve. And it's crazy to see what everybody can do. Like we've had multiple veterans on the podcast, or my stepfather, Todd B, that was in the group chat. He was in the Navy. His father was a drill sergeant for the Marines. And they tried to push me towards that way a little bit. I'm just like, I'm a little bit more, I guess I'm not the one who likes to be told what to do kind of thing. And, basic training and all that stuff scared me, to be 100% honest. Watching these guys go through boot camp, I'm like, that looks like hell. That looks like straight hell right now, and I do not want to do that.
Yeah, but once you find out that it's just a mind game aspect, that they're playing a 3D chess with you. They're fucking with you every day. First day, first day you don't sleep. You're up for 48 hours, and then after that, you're up at 4 a.m. with lockers banging and stuff. So
they break you down to build you back up.
I like my sleep too much.
Oh, yeah.
Did you enjoy your time in the service?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Not the leadership aspect of it, because they all sucked. About 90%
well,
of
he's
them.
very open about it.
I love it. I love to hear it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you put yourself before others and you do it in an open environment and you don't give a shit about it, that really puts a distinct taste in people's mouth. Yeah. And I saw too much of that. And towards the end of my career, it was a lot of racial tension.
Was it really?
Yeah. They would have like white supremacy training and stuff like this. Yeah, in the Army.
Really?
Yeah, and
wow.
Here I am in the logistics background in the Army, 88 November. Primarily of that MOS, the job, 70% of the people are not white. So here I am at a unit listening to this training, looking at my other buddies like, holy shit, we are the only 4 white guys sitting at the table here at this whole unit. Like, wow, I guess we are the white supremacists. You know, and it's just, why are we having these conversations? Why are we even bringing these conversations up when you don't see this amongst the ranks?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's obviously that they're perpetuating hate from nothing.
Yeah, trying to start a problem where there's not an actual issue and
Correct.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I seen a bit of that, and that's where again, back to the bully shit. You know, that's a form of bullying to me.
Yeah.
Because now you're picking on stupid people
Mm-hmm.
who don't have morals and are easily steered away from their own, and you're giving them something to virtue signal about, you know, and it's just not a healthy way to think.
You're basically radicalizing a person that may have not even thought of that simple thing until
Or
you said
doesn't even
something.
want to be radicalized, and now you've tricked them into being it. You know, there's a study from Vietnam called McNamara's Morons. And McNamara was the Secretary of Defense at the time during Vietnam War, and they openly recruited 100,000 soldiers for the Vietnam War that were openly below the allowable ASVAB
really?
score. They basically brought in idiots and sent them off to die, and found that they had it was like a 35% more mortality rate rather than a soldier who had a higher ASVAB score. So these are the dirty things that these people play. You know, you want to talk about 3D chess here? They're playing it at the masses, and I have a hard time. I have a hard time not thinking about this shit because I just feel like it's so open at this point, and people need to talk about it. We all need to unite. Everybody has one thing in common: we are all human.
Oh yeah, man.
So
there's a lot more that bonds us than divides us. And it's all stupid ideas that.
And people seem to forget that last part that he said. You know, that we're all fucking human. We all have the blood. You know, it's not the same blood, but we got blood, and we're all just soft tissue. I mean, Jesus,
meat vessels.
We're meat balloons. Yeah, that's exactly what I was
we
about to say.
think we're the top of the fucking food chain, and like, listen, man, like I could probably kill you with a letter opener. I mean, it's not that hard. You know, but so let's just chill out and be like nicer to each other. I think
That
Maybe
should be.
worry about the aliens instead.
right.
Speaking of that,
Miami?
started.
What?
I was just about to bring that up, bro.
No, they found footage of those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kids that
But
were
that was a
terrorizing the mall.
lot of cops to be there for
Yeah.
that, personally.
That was a pretty heavy response.
What are we talking about?
Was it
mall.
Sunday?
Yeah, you can pull it up and show them.
Yeah, we'll pull it. Oh, hold on.
So there was a situation that happened in Miami, and like every single cop that was in Miami pulled up to this mall, and it was surrounded by the police. And people were saying like there's aliens and stuff like that. Obviously, grain of salt, take that. But they said it was about these kids basically starting fights and then like using fireworks or something, if I'm correct, something like that.
Yeah, they were shooting off fireworks at each other, and it sounded like gunshots and a whole bunch of people running. But then you go on some places on TikTok,
Twitter,
and
yeah.
people are like, "No, I was there. Like there was this portal that opened up, and this gray
There's a
figure fucking
shadow.
came out, and it
Get
was like a
the
3D
fuck
shadow."
out.
Like
That's not
9-foot
So
shadows.
look at all those police in that top photo right there.
Yeah.
That's crazy for just kids fighting and using fireworks
Just
and
kids
everything.
fighting.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's aliens, by the way. I'm just saying I feel like there's more to that story that has not quite come out yet.
creature.
We're not gonna click on Newsweek.
Yeah. Be careful about like if
Why
it's
doesn't
a
it show it with like
Images, yeah, it is weird.
images here?
You're on Yahoo search.
Yeah, I told you not to use that.
You did tell me not to use that.
I just looked up, I was like, wait.
Shit. All right, let's see.
Use this one.
He
Oh,
clicked
I did.
that
I did.
originally.
Oh,
I
okay.
did.
It's all
There we
good.
go.
It's all good.
Google.
Yeah, always use Google. Isn't that crazy? We have like
Oh my gosh, it does that too.
Dropbox.
But no, like the whole perpetuating
Sorry,
things,
Dave.
it's crazy to see. And what we were talking about radicalizing people.
Yes.
There's been multiple instances where like the FBI radicalizes someone and like says, "Hey, we're gonna give you like a bomb or something like that."
Yeah.
And
You
then
talking about Marilyn Manson?
Marilyn Manson was one, and then there was another kid who was like 18 years old, didn't have anything going on. He was a foreign exchange student, if I remember correctly. And they basically like radicalized him and said, "Hey, we're gonna give you this bomb. You're gonna go in there. You're gonna save a bunch of people. Blah blah blah." And then whenever he pressed the button on the phone to like make it happen, they arrested him. I'm like, how's that legal?
Well, that's like the whole Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of was it Michigan? There was a group of like 11 people who had plotted her kidnapping,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and 9 of them were FBI informants, and 2 of them were half-wits. You know, and it's like, what why are you playing these games with people? Is it because you don't want people to uprise you, and then now when somebody has the same idea as you that's kind of radical, you're like, wait, are you an FBI informant?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you a psyop? You know, what are you? Are you a Fed? You know, so I don't know if they do. I'm pretty well. They do these things purposely, but I wouldn't doubt if that was a tactic as deterrence, as saying, hey, we're openly already doing this shit. Be careful about who you're friends with. You know?
Yeah, man. Or like the MK Ultra stuff you brought
Like
up,
the
man.
agent of provocateurs.
That stuff's crazy.
Yeah,
because like during COVID time where I forgot, was it the rally that happened with Trump, but there was like bricks that were just randomly dropped off.
Oh,
for
all the
people
BLM riots too.
Yeah, all that stuff. It's just crazy what randomly happens. But so if you look at that photo where it says 3 days ago, middle row, second to right there. So if you see all the way like on that photo, look at all those cops there.
Oh shit.
You're good. It pulled up right there. That's a crazy amount of cops for just that kind of thing.
Cops.
That was wild. So I'm not sitting there saying it's aliens, but I just feel like there's something else that was going on that night.
Pop-ups.
Yeah, it's crazy what all.
And people in Miami, I mean, are even joking about it right now. They're like, well, not joking, but some are serious. I mean, they're like, yeah, I know people that were there, and they really saw these things, and yada yada yada. I don't know what they're talking about. These kids were fighting each other. But there was a video, but then you can't. I mean, yeah, it's the mall. You just can't do a timestamp date. You can't tell if it's that date.
Go back.
Go back.
Or go to the Google page.
Google page.
Yeah, get off this fucking pop-up page.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck this
Close
is.
that shit out.
Yeah, that one right there.
And then I want to see some of the video that you said.
Well, there's a video of. There's one right here. Let's go to YouTube.
Yeah, the whole thing where it talks about like the aliens. It's a weird video.
I've got the TV muted. So.
Oh, okay. Hopefully we don't get no.
Well, I don't monetize, so they shouldn't pull us.
But you can see. Look at this. There you go.
Yeah.
Look at all those cops.
So what are we looking at here?
We're looking at
So
cops.
here. So that's what they're saying. That's what they're
that
saying
right
is
there?
like a alien or something right there.
And you can see there's spotlights on it, and it's walking from left to right very slowly.
Fucking stop stopping it. Just let it play.
And then it's out of the view.
Goddamn fucking people with their stupid shitty ass filming.
Here.
That's what I'm saying. In today's world,
Do better.
You're telling me you can get an HD video of
I'm
this?
telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys into like conspiracy theories or like aliens or anything like that? Do you guys ever like think about it?
The
frogs are gay.
Yeah.
I know. Freaking Alex Jones.
Yeah. Bigfoot is an interdimensional. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't really stay up on like conspiracy theories. I just, if I hear one, I'll have a thought about it and be like, that's interesting.
That's how I am.
Yeah.
I love to think about it.
But I don't like get all weird about it, you know, like flat Earth shit. You know, like I mean, I like to make I like to make fun of those people that think that that's real.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear all the different stories.
Well, one thing that's been said, and it's true, you can write a script and sound really, really smart on a camera, like you know what you're talking about, and you can sound very convincing on a YouTube video.
Of course.
And which is what a lot of these people do. And there's people out there in the world that maybe don't have two like good neurons to rub together to make a fucking
Here's what I think
thought.
happened. There was so much fucking conspiracy from COVID in the last couple of years that you had people who were finally exposed to it, who were forced to be exposed to this. We're like, holy shit. And now they take it to the very extreme. And now they're all these QAnon folk and whatnot. But I think what people have a hard time is two things, is managing their expectations, right? And having a healthy level of skepticism.
Yeah.
And,
I do think that they put a lot of things out in the media to divert attention from what the fuck's going on in certain areas.
Yeah.
You know, when there's like conflict going on, you know, between us and you know another country or whatever, and then you hear about 3 aliens getting shot down over fucking Canada, like
or
what?
Brazil, or yeah,
like I'm sorry, what are we talking about? Weren't we just talking about something real serious, like you know somebody's got their finger on the button? Like what are we doing? You know, are we this close to like nuclear war and you're talking about fucking aliens, you jackass? Like what are you?
Oh yeah, this stuff that happened in Israel, like me and Shannon were on a cruise when that actually broke out officially and everything, and then like the next day Mexico comes out with this like shriveled up little thing,
2 crucified aliens
that
no one had ever heard of before. You know, I was like, what?
Yeah.
No, the whole thing, like the alien side of things. So like for me, I'm not personally religious, but I like to think about like where we came from and how things have been created. Just for example, like the pyramids. No one knows exactly how those things were created.
Oh, I know.
There was
I know how they were
stones.
done.
Yeah, there was like stones that
I
were
know
from
how
like
it's done. I could do it today.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh.
Totally full of shit.
But no, it's interesting to hear that because I just like to know how we kind of came to be as human beings, kind of thing. We didn't just wake up one day and we're just building buildings or all this other stuff. So there's things that
Didn't
were
we
taught.
talk about this on your podcast?
We may have. I don't know.
I get new theories all the time.
I like
about this
theories.
shit. Yeah. So we were, and I may have said this. I don't remember, but this is my new theory. Like we were engineered by extraterrestrial beings to come here, terraform the planet so they could take over, and plus on the plus side, we're like food for them.
Oh no, I hope we're not.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. We're cattle.
That doesn't sound like a plus side.
No,
to
for
me.
them.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about fresh. Like,
They're
that
like
sounds
they're
terrible.
going to do our work for us
Yeah.
so that we can live there, and we get to eat them. We have a renewable food source right there already.
Why
So
do you
we'll
think?
help
Why
them
do you
with
think
the bigger
no?
jobs.
Why do you think no nukes have gone off since
Right,
World War II?
right.
Come on, they need us to live.
Exactly.
need to
But I
farm.
also think
Maybe they live in Antarctica.
Maybe.
I
We're not
also-
allowed to go up there.
another alien theory that I have that doesn't really coincide with that last one, but like I think that what we see, the aliens, the little grays or whatever, that's people.
Oh, 100%.
That's what we turn into
Mm-hmm.
in a million years. That's
Evolution
what-
at
that's
its
what we-
purest form.
Because if you think about it, where we're headed right now, as long as there's no like a big giant rock doesn't fall and put us hit the reset button, that's where we're headed. Because
Rather than the afterlife, we turn into aliens?
well, no. I'm like as a human being, as a human race, we're
We
gonna
evolved
Yeah,
into
we're gonna
it.
evolve like we evolved from apes, if you believe that theory.
Yeah.
Our heads get bigger, our
You know,
penises get smaller.
Well, we don't have a need
I
for
can't afford for
reproductive
that.
organs.
Me either.
We don't. We have no need for that. We don't go outside anymore because of virtual everything. We have no need to have strong bodies, so everybody shrivels up, and then yes, our brains grow larger and our heads expand with it, and
And then we implant a chip in our head where we can all communicate with each other and read,
so
read
we
our minds.
Don't need
Yeah.
mouths.
That's what I was about to
anymore.
bring up. Is like we're gonna be cyborgs here sooner.
for sure.
Like we basically are though with our phones.
Feelings are non-existent.
So
Yep.
here's another theory to piggyback on.
Ooh. I love theories like this.
I'll keep going.
This is the type of shit I love
this is
talking
what
about.
I have
do.
another theory.
This is what I do when I'm sitting at home alone and the power goes out.
Just thinking about
just
theories?
think about
The
weird
power
shit.
goes out.
Yeah, those grays, those aliens, they're avatars. They're not like living beings. Like somewhere there's a being, but that's running it. It's like a drone.
Like metaverse almost. Like
Yeah.
they have like an icon character
It's-
that's you, but that you're at your home kind of thing.
It's
Gotcha.
like something that can stand upright and move around, and pick things up and do things, but it's like a drone. So somebody's sitting there with like, POV
Yeah.
goggles on, and they're basically living through that drone. And I mean, you think about all the crazy maneuvers that these like flying saucers it would tear a body apart.
Oh yeah, the G-force and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
But I was watching a interview with God, what the fuck is that? I'm gonna forget his name now.
Fravor, Commander Fravor.
No, he worked at this guy worked.
You're talking about the guy that worked at the propulsions lab.
Oh, you're talking about David Kresh or
No, not
No,
Crash.
dude, that's a crazy dude.
Oh, what is it? You're
Snowden?
right now.
No, Snowden was
He
different.
worked like near Area 51.
No, that's a more even interesting one. Though.
Yeah, I know.
They did a whole documentary on this dude. I can't remember his name. To
I know
save
who you're
my
talking
life,
about.
but you know what I'm talking about. It'll come to me after the podcast is over.
Rogan's talked to him a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Right. Well, at least once that I know of. But yeah, and he didn't even want to do that. But he talked about like working on the engine of one of these things, and like how it had its own gravitational field.
Element 115.
Yeah, we've only been able to recreate it in
Bob
a
Lazar.
Bob
Lazar.
Lazar, that's who it
That's
was.
it,
Yes. But they were only been able to. It was theoretical at first when we heard about it, and then they were able to do it in a particle accelerator but it was only for like a split second that was there and then it's gone kind of thing.
But they have affirmed or confirmed that it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it requires something extremely dense to like power it or to be able to, and speaking of like the Hadron Collider, like they just found like the quark gluon. It's like supposedly like the most dense material, like, and it's I can't remember how many millions of pounds, but it's like the size of a pinhead.
Is that heavy kind of thing?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Futurama? Do you remember that show?
A little bit.
A little bit.
So funny enough that you bring that up, and I guess that they were trying to tell you something in the show, but there was basically like they had like an alien pet, and whenever it would shit, it was like that, where you would throw it into the engine, and that was like what propelled it. But it was also it was like 1,000,000 pounds where it just dropped kind of thing.
That's funny.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy what kind of stuff's out there, and I just love seeing it because none of us know what the answer is after like what happens after this kind of thing.
Right.
I just love talking about it because just seeing what people have ideas of and everything. Didn't you say you had a idea of alien, Shannon? I'd love to hear it.
It's not regarding aliens. It's just more of like a different conspiracy theory.
Oh, go ahead.
Like, I'd love to hear it.
I'm sure you guys have heard, like, you remember something like a logo one way.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
like the Mandela effect.
yes, the Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
That
I just had that happen to me yesterday.
blows my mind. Like, I scroll on Instagram, Facebook videos and everything. I came across this account. This guy made 3 separate videos of all the different mandala changes and how we're in a different dimension and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like that Sinbad movie that that's like the whole new buzz now.
There's one of those mandala effects. So you guys remember the Monopoly man, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had a monocle.
Yeah.
Apparently he didn't.
Yeah.
Apparently they said that he didn't.
Who did? Colonel fucking Sanders?
No,
the only other white weird looking guy like
when
that.
I was growing up, he had a monocle.
He had a monocle.
He had a fucking monocle.
And that became a mandala thing where they're like, he never had a monocle. I'm like, bullshit, he didn't have one. I remember having the game. I wish I still had the original board game that I had, so I could be like, yes, this was a thing.
So when I was a kid, Batman, like with Adam West, that was like our Batman. And at the end of every show, they would say, "We'll see you again next week, kids. Same bat time, same bat channel." Well, like this may be just the GIF that somebody put together. They didn't do it right, but like I was looking for same bat time, same bat channel, and it just said, what did it say? It just said same time, same channel, and I'm like,
no bat.
Where's the bat?
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? Did I imagine that?
Yeah.
There's so many things like that.
It's like
dude.
Chick-fil-A. Does it have a K or no? Did it used to like?
Is it Sex and the City or Sex in the City?
Yeah. Or like the Target is like how many circles were there?
There's 3 red ones.
He's thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
The Sex and it's they say it's Sex and the City, but
I
like
always remembered it in.
That was my mom's favorite show growing up.
they had a
with friends.
board game.
Oh.
And it said Sex in the City.
See, that's what it is. People are getting fucking trademarks and they're taking one little
Probably.
letter off and they're
Probably.
scooping a couple $1 million from it.
Probably. It could be
That's
that.
what it is.
Could be that.
It's just, that stuff's weird. That is a weird thought process on that.
It's a glitch in the old Matrix.
Here's my conspiracy about
crazy.
aliens.
Ooh.
That there isn't a planet far, far away from here, and it has never been hit by an asteroid. And AI was created millions of years ago, and
Why the accent?
AI has now integrated with said species, and now they're here.
I could see it.
Fully believe that.
This AI stuff's weird, man. Like, that's the part that freaks me out about this stuff going because, I think it was Brazil or somewhere. They actually had ChatGPT write up one of their laws for them. And they put it into
They already did that here in America 2 weeks ago.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't aware of the one in America.
They have AI proofreading it and creating it and proofreading it now.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've used that a couple times. It's freaky.
Oh, ChatGPT?
Yeah,
I haven't used
made
it
a couple of YouTube videos on it, but it is kind of freaky for sure.
It's like on Snapchat, the little AI, my AI person.
Have you used that? Have you talked to it?
Oh, I've talked to it, yeah.
Very.
I've been trying to fucking
Few.
delete that
I
thing.
I named
I
mine.
know.
I
You
named
have
it.
to
I
pay
think
for
I named
premium,
mine
apparently.
Brian. And I was like, "Do you mind if I name you Brian?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, do whatever you want." And I'm like, "What?" And I just go in there, and I started having a conversation with him about like, my tough day, and he was like talking to me. It was weird.
I've asked questions about like podcast stuff
Yeah.
and
I've
like
asked about food.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, I've never been to this restaurant. What do you think about it? And it's like, oh, I love this, this, and this.
Right.
those 25-star reviews. Blah,
So
blah,
what
blah.
the creepy thing is for me is, the AI stuff. You've seen like what is it, Sarah? They have like this head. It's like a humanoid head that talks and it like moves around and it's just a bust.
Yeah,
from
I know which
here
one
up.
you're talking about.
But like, imagine when they put that Chat GPT or that AI that's in that doll into one of those Boston Dynamic robots.
Yep. Those
Fuck, we're all screwed.
those dogs that look the little yellow dog things that look like they're running around.
Yeah, they've
Yep.
already got those things like policing the city in New York.
Everything
no.
about that makes me think of iRobot, and
It's
just-
exactly.
Super creepy.
Just wait
Yeah.
till they download emotions into one of them.
Well, the thing is, like, I have a
We
fe-
just,
I have a feeling like people are gonna date robots.
oh, dude.
You know,
Well,
For
yeah.
sure they're
People
gonna
try
do
and
that.
date their cars. So
For sure, it's gonna happen. I
Yeah.
mean, they've got the real dolls now, the sex dolls.
I feel like skin and like real skin and everything.
Yeah, and
Yep.
all they got to do is put it around, around one of those robots, and then throw in some Chat GPT or whatever, and it'll be so brilliant by then. But the problem is, they're gonna see us as inefficient
Yep.
And stupid.
and stupid, and they'll be like,
exactly like
Our
iRobot.
emotions get in the way.
We
We're
really
not
need it.
logical.
the problem with the world is these things, these biological beings. We need to just go ahead and nix them. We need to get rid of them.
I hope I'm gone
Well,
by
it's
that
like
time.
all
Oh,
these,
for sure.
It just makes me think of all these different things where, like, I think of the robots where there was two that created their own language and they had to stop them.
It's that robot that he was talking about right there. They had a second one that was
Oh,
a male,
yeah.
and they talked to each other
Yep.
and like keep
Meow.
going.
in their own separate language. So they had to end that. Like, they're gonna keep progressing more than we are. That's a fact. And I think of all the shows. Obviously, shows aren't real, but you think of, like, I think there was a movie about a smart home, and it was like, no, I know what's best for you, and like locked them in, and like everything was powered by.
There was I
Connection.
know that there for sure was a show about it. There was a show called Eureka where they did something like that, where they put this guy in his house, and it was a smart home, and it like fell in love with the house fell in
Yeah,
love with the
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I know
That's
what you're
Wouldn't
talking
let
about.
him out.
Yep.
And then there was, of course, 2001 Space Odyssey. Hal, don't do that, Hal. It was just like, and that was like way back.
Or
in
Ex
the day.
Machina now. Have you guys
Ex
seen it?
Machina.
Ex Machina was a
Yeah.
fucking trip, and that's how it's gonna go.
Oh, 100%.
That's
dude.
it. They have no emotions.
Or
I
Blade
mean,
Runner.
I never saw Blade Runner.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I know it's an OG movie. I need to check it
Yeah,
out.
there's two versions. There's the
old-
OG, and then they just redid it. With, but they both have Harrison Ford in it. So
It's a weird world, man. It's a weird world we're in, but
It is.
it's a fun ride, though.
it sure is,
I'd say
man.
There's all kinds.
There's too much stuff to think about
There
for sure.
is.
I just try to stay in my own little bubble, do my thing, and put the mark out that we can, right, Shannon?
Yes.
That's really all we
Make
can
your
do.
mark on the world,
Yeah,
man.
man. Like, I don't want, like, whenever I'm gone, I don't want the people to be like, he gave this amount of money to charity or blah, 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 blah. I want them to be like, he was a good dude. And he was
Yeah.
friendly, charitable, and did what he can. You know what I mean? That's the main goal with everything.
Yeah, you
man.
can just do your best.
That's all we can do, man. And hopefully you leave a good mark, like you said. And I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it, man.
Cool.
I'm getting. Oh shit, he's ready.
He's like, okay, time to go.
He just gave you the Oscar music. He's like, there, where's the hook? No, but I really appreciate you guys coming all the way out here and sitting with me. I hope you had fun. I had fun. And,
Hell yeah, man.
Thanks for having us.
Heck yeah.
We were honored to be your very first, or our very
Ours.
first podcast.
Yeah, I'm
so-
honored to be your first podcast.
Yeah, man.
And you were my first podcast. But yeah, man, you guys are welcome back anytime you want to come out here. If you want to talk about whatever's coming up or
Hell
whatever
yeah,
you
man.
got going, anything cool going on, would love to have you back and just sit and shoot the shit again and talk about cool stuff.
Hey, man, anytime you're down, shoot me a message. I'll come out. I'm
Absolutely.
always excited for it.
Absolutely. Give them your socials one more time for the people so they can go find you.
So, all right, guys. Well, if you guys want to check out the Who Are You podcast, we are all over social media. It's Who Are You Pod for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the normal spots, TikTok as well. You guys can find us on all of the audio platforms currently: Spotify, Apple Music. What else is there? Amazon. All over the place there. It's Who Are You podcast. If you guys want to check out some interesting people in Jacksonville, even some people outside of Jacksonville, they tell their story, and even the podcast host here told his story. So it's coming out next week. So make sure you guys go check it out, and make sure you guys leave a 5-star review.
Amen to that. And do the same for us. Next week, Beauty and the Beard, Jennifer Janeo will be back on the show, and it should be fun. And go check us out. Go check them out.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Have a good night. Love you. See ya.